Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Final Fantasy 15 Lorerun. Windows Edition. Special Ultra Edition. Of Mega something, I don't know. I'm still actually suffering a little bit from the migraine from yesterday. So you're going to have to be tolerant with me, please, guys. I'm going to do the best I can here. One of the things I usually like to start with when it comes to these kind of runs is a little bit of a behind-the-scenes discussion, explanation, etc., right? This, I do actually have a bit of history with this game, but it's not really good. I mean, to this day I consider the worst stream I have ever done to be the Final Fantasy 15 premiere run. Like, of every stream I've ever done in the last 6 years. Just, ugh. It was an awful stream. And I did a terrible job of it, and I let people... Basically, it was not a good stream. And that's mostly my history with this game. I've had a lot of time to digest and discuss this game since that premiere run, and virtually all of my opinions have actually changed since then. No, this isn't the worst game I've ever streamed to Koida. It was just the worst stream I've ever done, in my opinion. So a lot of my opinions have changed, and a lot of my mindsets have changed, and blah, 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 blah. And of course, we have a lot of additional information now that we didn't have back when this game was new. By the way, I'm going to need some audio balance checks, because every game has different audio balance, so do me a favor and keep up with me on that. Obviously, this is just, being a thing. We'll see what it sounds like when we get to dialogue, which will be the really important part. Now, I don't plan to show off the video, the movie, I should say, or the anime or anything like that, for obvious reasons, but those will be, naturally, things to be discussed. Both Sergeant Joe Dart. Probably the one thing that my opinion has not changed on is that the best part of this game, by far, is the dynamic between the four leads. There is such... I praised this then, and I praise this now. The dynamic and interplay between the four characters is natural, well-written, well-voice-acted, and just generally awesome. If they decided to just eject the main plot of this game, and it was just the adventures of the quartet, I would probably enjoy this game more. But I don't want to get into that right now. I do want to mention a couple of things, though, behind-the-scenes stuff. What, for the quartet, Cashel? Yeah, that'd be awesome. One of the things I like to do is I like to look at the behind-the-scenes and the makings of when it comes to discussing something. And FF15 is weird when it comes to that. It reminds me of Star Trek The Next Generation. Now, on the off chance you have no idea what I'm talking about, forgive me for elaborating. There are massive holes in our understanding of what actually happened with the creation of Star Trek The Next Generation, with regards to Season 1 and Season 2 especially. When I say holes, I mean there are multiple instances of multiple people giving different accounts of what was happening behind the scenes. So that should then neatly lead into this game right here. I have heard many differing accounts on the whys and the wherefores, and, to put it bluntly, the mess that was the behind-the-scenes creation of this game. We do know some basic facts. The fact that the management team was completely bungling this stupid game. The fact that they switched development staff as well as main production staff twice. In fact, this was originally supposed to be part of the 13 verse, etc., etc. We know some basic facts, but given how much obfuscation and disagreement there is about the behind-the-scenes stuff, I'm actually going to mostly avoid that. Instead, I'm going to rely on my own analysis to try and speculate on what actually was going on here. And let me just go ahead and spoil something for you. I speculate extensively that there are still many fingerprints from the FF13 collaboration in this game. Now, that's just my opinion, and I don't have hard data to factually state it. To be clear, I don't anymore think that this is literally connected to the rest of the FF13 stuff. I just think that this is one of those, we had to make do with what we had situations, right? And so rather than completely rewriting the story, they just wrote around the existing story they already had. That kind of a thing, right? Data had already been constructed, forums had already been made, blah, 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 blah. So, one final note. Several people have requested... Oh, by the way, I can actually alt-tab this game. It's wonderful. Several people have requested that we do something with this game. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So this game obviously gets 48 story positives. No, I kid. Really scenes. Now, it's probably worth noting that while I have not played Episode Arden, I have seen it. So I'm not actually sure what you're referencing, Scened. Oh yeah, by the way, this is basically a lore run, which means spoilers everywhere. I do try to maintain some spoilers for narrative purpose, but for the most part, if we need to discuss something, we're going to discuss something. Let's see, what else? We are doing the DLCs. I got that question a weirdly large amount of time. Yeah, exactly, Dakota. So let's leave that in the future. We are going to be doing the DLCs. I've already kind of decided that we are going to do the Gladio DLC when it fits, and the Prompto DLC when it fits. I'm still debating the other two. We will be discussing the... I actually don't know what it's called. The final thing. The thing that was supposed to be the last DLC. I can't remember what it's called. But we already know pretty much all the story beats of that, so... Well, Dawn of the Future, thank you. We're going to be discussing Dawn of the Future, which is it was the Lunafreya and Artea, the Dragoon lady, and one other DLC all kind of mixed together. Oh, it was the Noctis. That was it, the Noctis DLC, all kind of smashed together. I have no idea, Melkor Blade. Aranea, that was her frickin' name. Yes, Lunafreya, Aranea, and Noctis. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to discuss. We will be cheating. Of course we'll be cheating. It's a low run. I've already done quite a bit of work to get those cheats working smoothly. So Rex does ask a valid question. How do you rate a game that you plan to cheat from the beginning? Well, there's actually two ways I'm going to do this. First, I have played this entire game without cheating. So I kind of know how the... Yeah, I don't know. I kind of know how the gameplay lays out, right? So I do have my own past experience to draw from. Second of all, a huge amount of gameplay stuff is not directly related to combat, and therefore we can judge the HUD, or the interface, or the amount of clicks that are necessary to access something, or the level design, or the flow of events, or quest design, and all that stuff. We can still judge a huge amount of stuff when it comes to gameplay, regardless of cheats. Admittedly, I prefer to do ratings without any cheats whatsoever, but we're compromising here because I'm not playing this game a third time. I don't have that much time, guys. Come on. Without further ado... Thank you very much, Pico, for your wonderful timing. As ever and as always, much appreciated. Thank you so much. Do you know what you would like to put that towards? And by the way, I just want to say something, and I know this is going to sound strange to mention this here. So this is the 15th. This is the day I get paid from all three sources I get paid from. Now, because of the nature of how Twitch works, the payment I'm getting is actually from 3 months ago. Which would be April, I believe. So I'm getting the money from April's Twitch stuff right now, I think. And all I want to say is that it has gone up from the previous amount. And it's because of stuff like that. And it's especially helpful since my Patreon has been slowly dipping, actually. So what I just wanted to say is thank you to everyone. One more? Nope. Is thank you to everyone who's been helping to make it so that despite the fact that my bills took a 3-digit increase when I moved out, that I can still pay the bills and still eat, and I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm going to be able to pay the rent next month. I know that sounds like such a stupid thing to comment on, but I have been at many times in my life, I've been at that type of point where I'm not sure how I'm going to pay the bills next month. And it's because of you guys, and thank you. I don't know what else to say there. Thank you. And thank you, Rax. And thank you, Rax. And thank you, Rax. And thank you, Rax, for the 4 subs. Sure thing, Rax. No problem. Speaking of which, what did Pico want to put his towards? Hang on, scroll up. Unity. Okay, so give me a second. So, Pico. Oh, shoot. What's the numbers behind Pico? 40. Is it Shadowbringer or Shadowbringers? I guess it doesn't matter. No, I understand, Saint. I'm not e-begging, dude. I'm just saying thank you to those of you who have helped to keep me solvent. As much as I am a dinky little fish in a tiny corner of insignificance, it's nice to know that I'm not under the financial gun anymore. I had a while there where I was helping to take care of my sister, and then they had a financial boom, so that wasn't necessary anymore, and then I had to move out, but now I'm being taken care of. Basically, it could be a lot worse. So, enough personal stuff. Nobody cares. So, a couple things, really quick. I believe we only have to mute this game twice. I know we have to mute it right at the beginning. It's still actually one of my biggest irritations about this game, actually. It was right off the bat, we need to mute the game. So we're going to. I'm not dealing with that crap. Yeah, the Stand By Me song, exactly. Sorry, guys, but I'm not dealing with that. I know with 100% certainty that the Stand By Me thing gets this muted. So we're just gonna bypass that. There we go. Okay. Cheats are loaded. Easy. I mean, there's no reason not to. So we are going to do the tutorial. There's a couple things to showcase in the tutorial. I know, right, Melkor? The 65% point. You're going to have to remind me, Blue Wolf. I'm sorry. So, let's get some dialogue here. Or not. Whatever. Hi, Carbuncle. Yeah, it's good to see you too. Is this readable? Because that's as big as that text is getting. Hang on. Dakota says we're getting tearing. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the preview pane for a second here. See if it's on my end or if it's on Twitch's end. If I'm being completely honest, I imagine FF7R will be the same as this game. In other words, there will be good and there will be bad. I myself have described this game many times. Ah, right, Blue Wolf Alex. That, thank you. I mean, I like FF15, don't mistake me, but this is a pretty flawed game. The DLC's helped, the patches have helped, but this is a pretty flawed game. There we go. Now I have control of the camera. I don't see any issues on my end here. Whoops. Yeah, by all means, Dakota. It might be a cutscene thing. Maybe they render the cutscenes differently. That wouldn't be the first time we've had a game do that. Even though it's in-engine. Music's a bit loud for me. What do you guys think? Can we... We can turn that down. It's a shame, I like this music. Okay, so let's turn down the music a bit. That sounds about right. Let me know how that feels. Whoops, or you could undo it. That's great. Actually, make sure we're on the right. Yep, we are. Okay. Subtitles are on, names are on. Oh, we're here. Okay. Nothing really spectacular in the options, so I don't think the options really deserve a plus. It's just most of the usual stuff I'd expect. It is nice to see proper sliders. It is a shame there's no text scaling options whatsoever. And I point that out because you guys probably remember how many issues we had with the text being visible when we played this last time. However, I do want to point out that we're actually playing in something other than 16:9 format, and that seems to be helping the text. So... Also, you're right, Valvedrix. I've been playing too many games where it's timing lately. So yeah, I forgot to hold down. Hey, Pulse of Fury. Like, parrying is literally just holding block and then hitting attack. I don't mean to sound dismissive, but compared to a lot of other games I've been playing lately, that is so much easier. Well, actually, this is 5x4 scene. Sorry, I must have misspoken. Oh, we have ridiculo cheats. I'm not going to use them here for obvious reasons. Actually, I am, Rax. If you want me to, I mean, I could do it. I can make it happen. Yeah, Noctis is legitimately overpowered, which is actually funny in its own right. Although it makes sense for the way the lore works, although it also doesn't make sense for the way the lore works. I'm serious. I really feel like if I was to describe the narrative of this game, I would say it feels like someone was handed a first draft of a story and told to turn it into a new story without turning it into something new. And it's just... like, imagine that as a writer. Imagine how aggravating that would be as a writer. Here, turn this into a story. Yes, Alex, this is in fact in lore. Oh, shoot. There we go. Yeah, as much as I don't like the chosen one trope in general, I do have to admit, at least there is legitimate logic behind why Noctis is so damn powerful. For those of you unaware, I'll go ahead and explain it in severe brevity right now. The idea is, imagine if you could bestow upon someone 15 units of power. Just random generic measurement, right? So you are now power level 15. And then you don't get to die normally once you die. You just kind of go over here. And then the next person gets 15 power level layered on them. And they get over here. And then 15 power level. And then they get layered over here. The point is, I like to mentally think of it as folding steel. They keep folding the same power level into people bit by bit by bit, so that each successive generation can draw on more and more of all of the ones that came before them. So Noctis has 12? 13? I forget exactly how many. Power level 15s to draw from by this point in the story. Hence, he is... Yeah, I know, Takoida. It's an analogy. Work with me here. Like, I don't know a good analogy for what I'm describing. I guess a chocolate cake? I'm not sure of a good analogy here. But the idea is they keep applying this power level generationally. And then... 113. Jesus Christ. Yeah, point being, he's got a lot to draw on, is my overall point here. Hi, Tixar. That's true, Highlander might work. Although, of course, it doesn't help that Highlander is... it's right there. I see it. There we go. But yeah, that's the summary. That's why he is so damn strong and has so many abilities. And as Takoida rightly points out, it's not just power, raw, offensive capacity. He has a great deal of utility capacity as well. Cover. Yeah, we gotta take cover. Alright, so there's my first negative to the game. Come on, this is totally cover, right? Okay. Stop dead. Nope. Okay. Stopping. There we go. Yes, Mind Blast. Yeah, we're literally the 114th PC of this setting. Oh. That's interesting. It depends on the game, Alex, is the summary. I was willing to do it for this one. Basically, I'm more willing to do lore run premiere runs, rating lore runs, if they are longer. And I know that sounds like a strange thing, but the point is, I mean, imagine having to play all the way through this game twice. 3 times, actually, because this is my second playthrough. Exactly, Leander. Hi, Thunderline. So anyways, I mentioned that there's lore here. Actually, I don't think I did mention that. I thought that. We are not doing all the side quests. In fact, we're doing basically none of the side quests. In fact, to be completely blunt, the side quests are probably going to be a negative. We'll see when we get there. The Land of Eos. Once upon a time, there was a meteor that carried the 5 astrals and also death and horribleness, which is never explained. Don't ask. There's no explanation for it. There isn't. There is no explanation for what the hell the Star Scourge is. It's an evil death thing. Anyways, our story takes place in the land of Eos. At present, the world is divided between two warring states. Controlling a majority of the world's lands is the militarily mighty Niflheim, an aggressively expanding imperial war machine. The kingdom... Yeah, exactly. It exists! What's the explanation? It exists! Okay, I do actually have something to say really quickly about the Star Scourge. In the German translation, and no other translations, so in the German localization, I should be more clear, they actually added an explanation for what the Star Scourge is. Now, that's not canon, because the German localizers did that independent of the original staff and writing team. But I just wanted to point that out because it's the only thing we've ever had approximating an explanation of what Star Scourge is. I'll cover that more later, though. It's not really relevant right now. The Kingdom of Lucis continues to resist the Empire's advance with magic. The crown city of Insomnia stands proud as the kingdom's last bastion, but the Empire has already made inroads. Oh, by the way, the Empire's evil. Of course it is! It's a Final Fantasy game! Has there ever been a not evil Empire in FF? Yeah, I know. Rosaria. FNC. What in God's name is FNC? Hang on, I need to stab Alex really quick here. Let me just find my spoon. There we go. Garlemald. Now, I haven't played Shadowbringers yet, but I'm going to add a debatable to that sentence. Because, I mean... Yeah, we'll see. What the hell was I saying? The Kingdom of Lucis continues to resist the Empire's evil advances of evil with magic. The crown city of Insomnia stands proud as the kingdom's last bastion, but the Emperor has already made inroads on the outlying territories, including the primary regions of Lide? Duske, and Kligne. They're going to pronounce these later. I don't know how the hell they pronounce these. Yeah, Lucis, so I suppose I should mention something. At this point in history... The Kingdom of Lucis has actually already dealt with invasions from the others, and they just mentioned it briefly. King Regis, Noctis's father. Is it Regis? I was literally just reading this morning. I still have my notes up. I'll just check my notes really quick. It is Regis. I'm sorry. I was getting weirded out because I just finished playing Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, which has a major character named Regis. And it just sort of stalled me for a second. They're like, well, hang on. Am I misremembering names? Because it wouldn't be the first time. Anyways. Regis actually had... he leans heavily on the crystal, which itself is an aspect of the Astral's influence when it comes to people down on Earth. It's like, and that enabled him to set up a second magical barrier in order to help defend the city from everything going on. The Empire of evilness then decided to go ahead and sue for peace, which is going to be basically at the very beginning of the game. In fact, technically those events happen off camera, but we'll cover more of that in just a minute. What you need to know right now is that Lucis is... The way I like to think of it, and this is probably a bad... No, it's okay, Mind Blast. They'll say it later. This is probably a bad analogy, so please forgive me, but it reminds me a little bit of like a rich port city. I mean, they're not literally a port, and we actually go to a port city later, but they have a lot of wealth flowing through the city. They have a lot of influence, and they have a lot of magic, and that's kind of it. They have very little territory. They have very little political affluence on the world stage. They have an almost pathetic military. In fact, the Kingsglaive, the elite soldiers, which they did a whole thing about, were actually a relatively recent invention, and only in response to the aggression that the Empire's been pushing. So they're kind of over there in the corner. Important, but ultimately in a fairly weak position. There's actually a real-life city I'm trying to think of, and God, I cannot think of the name of it. Hang on, let's just look up Italy really quick. Map of Italy, please. I'm going to kick myself whenever I see it. Venice! I'm reminded of Venice. You know, there's obviously a lot of wealth and a lot of trade and a lot of, connections that flow through there, but ultimately, at several points, historically speaking, Venice has kind of been only able to withstand because of its connections to other nations. Well, Lucis doesn't really have a strong connection to any other nation. Not counting, well, we'll get there. Because we got to talk about the Luna Freya thing. Anyways, getting back to the point. Enough politics. All you need to know is that the city-state we are from, because it is basically a city-state, is kind of pushed back up against the corner. I think you're right, Rax. I don't know if that's true 100%, but I've always gotten the impression that... So the idea here is that the only nation which is really a full-on nation is the Empire, basically. Yeah, no, this actually happens in lore, Heinryu, which is strange, or Hienryu, excuse me. Basically, this is happening right before the game proper. This is actually a dream sequence in which he really is interacting with Carbuncle in this manner. Carbuncle is, I believe in the English translation, they call them the messengers. It's something mentioned in the Ultimania. In fact, I have an entry on them right over here. Or here? I have a lot of notes up right now. Please forgive me. Messengers. Here we go. The gods communicate through man with the oracle, but rarely appear directly. Instead, they convey their direct information through 24 angels, which, again, is actually directly translated into the US version as messengers. We'll actually see a couple other messengers throughout the course of the game. Anyways, so... let's get back to the thing we're reading on screen. Old tales tell of 6 gods who are evil, who have stood watch over Eos since antiquity. It is said they now slumber, conserving their strength, waiting to awaken upon the coming of a plague known as the Star Scourge. We'll talk about that later. The 6th in the Oracle. She most pure of faith is the Oracle, a daughter in the line of those said to commune with the 6th. Blessed by the astral gods, she calls forth the power of Eos to heal those who are suffering and afflicted. Her devotion in helping all those in need has inspired reverence for her amongst people from all over the world. And she's totally not a... I mean, she's a character, right? She's going to be a character, right? And her name is not Minfilia, yes. This crystal is the divine cornerstone... God, I can't talk this morning. Is the divine cornerstone of the kingdom of Lucis. The stone has a will of its own and channels its sacred power through the ring of Luci to the monarch who bears it. Okay, I want to explain to mention something really quick. So I have obviously researched this game. I've looked at the Ultimania translations. Near as I can tell, there's no specific explanation for what exactly the crystal is. Which, if you're paying attention now, that's 2 things. We don't have an in-depth explanation for exactly what it is. What we do know is the crystal is basically, I'd say, this is my impression, is at the same level as the astrals. It's not an astral itself, or maybe it is, but it acts as an ally of the astrals rather than a subservient, if that makes any sense. That's why I mention the same level. It is worth noting the crystal and the astrals are working together in the overall plan that they have going on here. Although why they would need to, well, we'll get into that later. I do actually have a theory about it. A lore theory, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, the crystal does have an intellect. That is actually something to be kept in mind. Because that'll be relevant for Arden, spoiler, and that'll be relevant for Noctis later as well. And Ignis, actually, now that I think about it. The stone has a will of its own and channels its sacred power through the ring of the Luci to the monarch who bears it. The monarchs in the line of Lucis have the innate ability to conjure magical weapons. A handful of close attendants are also afforded access to this selfsame power. The magical barrier, known as the Wall, has long kept the Empire at bay, and thereby maintained the peace, yet not entirely without struggle. Sustaining the Wall imposes immense physical burden upon the king, but to let it fall for even a moment would invite total annihilation. That could be, Leander. That's not a bad idea. Arden... yeah, I was going to say Arden's fiancée, and I don't remember her name. Please forgive me. She is actually a character in the book we'll be referencing, which I've already got the name Dawn of something. She comes up there, and we will be talking about her a bit. But Arden himself was different. And also voiced by one of the best voice actors in the business right now. What? Eos is plagued by hordes of demons, vicious nocturnal creatures of various forms that strike fear into the hearts of even the most seasoned hunters. Demons are denizens of the night, and the more predatory among them are drawn to the roads after dark. People now dread the setting of the sun for fear of what monsters might be lurking in the shadows. In recent years, demons have grown in numbers, and totally isn't because of anything the Empire is doing, while the nights have grown longer, which is dumb, but I just want to skip over that. Can we just skip over that for the moment? The correlation between the two phenomena is yet unproven, but scientists persist in their search for a link. Yeah, Darren DePaul is awesome. I love Darren DePaul. He is such a great voice actor. Not just in terms of quality, but he throws himself into his role, and I always love that. Okay, so let's move forward to next tutorial here. Attack Gladiolus. Sure. Am I the only one who keeps trying to truncate his name to Gladius, by the way? Like, I've gotten it in my head now that he is Gladiolus. But only because I've, you know, put the effort into it, basically. Oh no, I can't damage him. So. Now, I'm going to say something that's actually probably going to get me some negativity here. How many of you have played Final Fantasy Mystic Quest? Of course, Thunderline. By the way, I actually like Mystic Quest. No, seriously. You can make fun. That's okay. I don't mind. It's a bad game. So, this combat system is basically Mystic Quests. I'm being serious. For those of you who haven't actually played Mystic Quest, allow me to elaborate. In Mystic Quest, all enemies, and I do mean all of them, have a vulnerability and a strength. They're strong against X, they're weak against X. And the overwhelming majority of the tactics, if you could even call it that, in Mystic Quest, is figuring out what is weak to what. Now, you might be thinking, well, duh, they're weak to fire or whatever. Well, what I mean by that is the weapon type. Some things are weak to axes, some things are weak to bombs, some things are weak to ranged weapons, which all count as the same thing. That kind of idea, right? And it's actually one of the better ideas in Mystic Quest, in my opinion. And it's something that I, always hoped another game would do something more with. Yeah, exactly, Dakota. So we do have slashing damage, piercing damage, strength damage, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, FF10 did something somewhat similar. I do like that system, admittedly. I'm not sure if it's fully worthy of a positive by itself. Now, the magic system, that's a big negative. I hate the magic system. I'm not quite kidding. I really don't like magic in this game. Yeah, it wouldn't be a plus in Mystic Quest because there's no way to know it other than trying. And they used a huge band-aid to allow you to try. Oh, you want to do the fight over? Okay. So hang on. Gear. funnily enough, I think spells work well enough when your party's using them, but I can't stand using them myself. Jesus Christ, Alex. You know, I literally just commented on how thankful I was for your financial support, but that wasn't a request for more money. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. No, Eric knows me well enough to know that he's right. God damn it, dude. You should... The worst part is I don't even know how to pronounce your second name, Alex. Korobianiki is what I keep thinking, but I know I'm wrong. Well, looks like I'm going to be digging that PS3 out soon. Sheesh. Seriously, though, thank you very, very much. And I have jotted that down towards folklore. So, honest question, do you think the spell system deserves a negative? I know that sounds like a strange statement, but I feel the spell system is legitimately bad. As was just mentioned by the tutorial, there's certain actions you simply can't even take while you're using spells. The spells themselves aren't really all that useful. The spells themselves, yeah, they basically are grenades. Yeah, it's basically functions as a grenade that nerfs your ability to function during the time at which you are using the grenade. And the only thing that would mitigates that for me is the fact that you don't have to use them at all. You can combine spells, and that is cool. That might help to balance that out a little bit. I suppose I could see that. You know, it just being an optional thing. Nah, I think that kind of balances itself out, so... I guess we'll just leave that as is. See, what's funny is I'm sitting here and I'm just kind of mentally processing all of the things I don't care about this game's gameplay. And a lot of them really just feel like neutrals rather than negatives. A good example of this is the sphere grid of this game. I mean, it's just there, basically. There's nothing particularly interesting or well done about it, and there's nothing particularly egregious about it. It's just, we need to have an alternate leveling system, because every Final Fantasy since 2 has had an alternate leveling system. So here you go, and it feels completely tacked on, but it doesn't really detract from the game. It's just kind of there. It's like boring talents, you know what I mean? Anyways. Yeah, the combat is... I mean, this is the combat, you know. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. Now, let's see. Let's add some ice to the fire. Oh, the ice. Okay, maybe less ice. Do you have a reason why, Blue Wolf Alex? I guess I don't have any. I might explain that. I tend to agree, Eric. Like I said, the one really shining feature of this game for me is the dynamic between the main four characters. Why Takoida? No, I'll try. I will. I will. I'll even turn off the instant kill option.
You rang?
So talents, Blue Felix? It sounds like we actually are in agreement on that point.
You're up.
Prompto, help! Help! Even though that makes no sense. Just ignore it. Now, it's funny you say that, Joe Neutrino. I do find the combat rather simplistic myself, but it's more of a nature of the controls feel simplistic. You know what I mean? I guess it's not really a bad thing. It's just kind of a neutral thing. I feel like I'm going to say that a lot this run. I don't know, actually, Rex. I guess we'll find out. Me too, Valvidrix. T, that's what that button is.
Got it.
Oh, crap, I gotta me too. Pay attention, Laura.
Yeah.
As weird as this may sound, I still praise FF15 for being as not horrible as it should have been. I know that doesn't sound like praise, but I mean, this could have easily been Dragon Age 2, to use a direct example. Or Anthem. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's just unfair, Laura. No, think about it for a second. Both of those games actually had this very similar problems as this one. And they just didn't manage in the same way that this one did. But there's a lot of little things I don't care for. Like, you can't interrupt your own animations, for example. You can't interrupt your own animations. You can't adjust tactics in mid-motion. Basically, it's there's actually a term for this, and I can't remember the proper term, but it's commit gameplay. Whenever you decide to do something, you are committed until that animation finishes. That is true, Rax. But yeah, no, as weird as this may sound, this was actually a rushed development game. Just like Dragon Age 2 and Anthem. I wasn't making those comparisons idly. It was a delayed rushed game, which is actually worse than just a rushed game. The Tale of the Chosen King. Alright, hang on. Now, I want you guys to argue against me with this, as I always do, but I want to give a negatives to story for this moment. And I do. So there's old Noctis. Spoiler alert. I'll explain myself in a minute, but I find this to be a negative to story. That's Ifrit, by the way. You can tell he's currently infested with Star Scourge, if you look at his left side.
Hang in there, buddy! Stay down! We'll keep him busy!
No! Over here! Quickly! Before he strikes again!
Here it comes! I got your back!
Here you go. Let's go!
Now, I do want to talk about that, because that is a concept called a flash forward. Now, a flash forward can be done for several effects. I'm not going to spoil anything, because just about... Hang on, I'm actually going to pause. Can I pause? I can pause! Yay! I have a pause button. A flash forward can be used for several narrative points. You can have it to showcase... I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Again, I don't want to actually specifically spoil things, but... No, actually, it is all on screen. Like, what you're seeing, Dakota, is this outline on the chat is just going over it a little bit. But, no, it is. That's actually the full thing there. Basically, it's going up to this edge right here, if you can kind of see there. And a flash forward can be used to show you something, to color your perceptions, or to make you think in a certain direction, and then over the course of the story, you reveal that it's actually something completely different than what you were thinking. It's like, aha, it was that all along. I knew it. A flash forward can also be done as a way to establish, a way of showcasing characters, or a way of showcasing some of the world. A flash forward can be used to try and hint, give foreshadowing for what's to come. All three of these are valid usages of flash forwarding. In my opinion, none of those are accomplished by the scene we just saw. It doesn't establish any of them, other than the fact that they happen to be a team. Which is literally the next scene where they're pushing the car establishes them much better. So that's out the window. Establishes the setting. There's no context for anything. Assuming you don't know what you're looking at, you just see someone who you presume is the main character rushing forward and fighting a guy who you can barely see while everything's on fire. And the fact that it's just copy-paste of a scene we'll be seeing later is like Terra Shield, who's awesome. So never mind, I guess that's a bad way to put that. Thank you very much, Terra Shield. Much appreciate the sub, as always. Thank you. Do you know what you would like to put that towards? If indeed anything. I mean, exactly. It serves no narrative purpose at all. That's the point I'm trying to make here. It's just, here's a scene from the second to last fight of the game. Or is it third? It's towards the end. Nothing is revealed. Nothing is showcased. None of it has context. It's just there. And what's worse about it is it actively spoils several elements if you're paying any kind of attention. So it actually is detrimental to you thinking and paying attention to what's going on. So I'm sorry to open with a story negative, but... I would say yes, Alex. That actively just... Every time I see that, it just grates on me. Including just now. Just... Ugh. Yeah, honestly, and this, I mean this with total sincerity, I don't know why that scene exists. Someone somewhere decided at some point in time that there needed to be that scene, and I don't know what their reasoning was. I'm actually quite curious what their reasoning was, because I don't know it. Anyways, back to the game. So you can see the shield.
The decreed hour is come.
There, Regis.
Set forth with my blessing, Prince Noctis.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Take your leave, and go in the grace of the gods.
Right.
I can't think of his name, but I love Noctis' voice actor, by the way. That's two excellent voice actors in this game. Ray Chase, that's him. He's great.
Well, princes will be princes.
So much for royal protocol.
Not like you had to deliver a formal address.
Your Highness!
What now?
Making him go down the staircase.
I fear I have left too much unsaid. You place a great burden on those who would bear with you.
You're one to talk.
I ask not that you guide my wayward son, merely that you remain at his side.
Indeed, Your Grace.
We'll see the prince to Alticia if it's the last thing we see.
Yeah, what he said.
Hate to break this up, but Kor's got the motor running. Drados, he's in your hands.
Too true.
Do mind your manners around your charming bride-to-be.
Your Majesty as well. Try to mind yours around our esteemed guests from Niflheim.
You have no cause for concern.
Nor do you.
Take heed. Once you set forth, you cannot turn back.
You think I would?
I need only know that you are ready to leave home behind.
Don't know about you, but I'm ready as I'll ever be.
Take care on the long road. Wheresoever you should go, the line of Lucis goes with you. Walk tall, my son.
So in case you missed that, Noctis is just treating this like it's a Tuesday. Regis knows bad things are about to go down. He, in fact, specifically sends Noctis away to get him out of the city for the attack he believes is going to happen. That's why Regis is so dramatic there, because he is saying goodbye to his son. Forever, you know? So, these load times are stupid. I don't know if they deserve a negative, but I'm on an SSD on a Doom streaming computer, and this is the load times. Just, what the hell? Hang on. I'm just going to go ahead and get this out there right now. I've played this game. I know these are going to be pluses. So I'm going to give a story positive for Ray Chase. No, I'm serious. He manages... He's a great voice actor, and I love what he does with his character. And he's going to be great the entire freaking game. So, I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, story positive to Ray Chase and his voice acting. I'll have to debate on most of the other voice actors, but I'm pretty sure Arden's voice actor, DePaul, will probably get a plus by himself. And I'll probably give a third and final plus to story acting, voice acting in general. Because, as someone mentioned earlier, I do feel the voice acting is good across the board in this game. We'll see, though. We'll see as we go through it. Now, in total contrast to the previous Ifrit scene, this scene's great.
I think we can forget about hitching our way there. Thought people were friendly outside the city.
You can only go so far on the kindness of strangers.
You're just gonna have to push her all the way.
I've already pushed myself to the brink of death.
Get up. Come on, car isn't gonna move itself.
Sheesh. I thought the car was supposed to move us.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Can it? Ready, steady.
Push!
In all and total sincerity, this is a perfect opener. And I mean that. Like, this is exactly... Did the music already start yet? Okay, we're going to have to mute that now, then. Okay, so I shouldn't say perfect. There's one problem, and that's the Stand By Me song. Other than the Stand By Me song, this perfectly establishes what we're getting into. Think about the things that this establishes. We've got power lines, car, and a prince who is leaving his kingdom basically for the first time on a road trip, and the dynamic and interplay between the four main characters. I really wish I could unmute this because their banter is excellent here. Oh yeah, and you can actually steer while doing this for some reason. That's true. Ignis is the one driving right now. That's actually kind of a character/plot point for later. And yes, Gladiolus is the one doing all of the actual pushing, which makes sense if you frickin' look at him, whereas Prompto, the stick up there, can't do anything. And most of Noctis's abilities are on the magical side of things, his utility, his special powers. So again, there's a lot of interesting presentation and development in this scene other than the damn song. And this worked great in total contrast to the Ifrit scene. Yeah, I feel the usage of Stand By Me is also a little bit too on the nose. And there we go. Now we can unmute it. So that should be the last time we need to mute the game until the ending. It feels like he's wearing nothing at all, Permeus. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Well, they've been doing so for a bit, Rax. But yeah, I see what you're saying on that.
Hey there, y'all kept a girl waiting. Now, which one's the prince?
I hate her hair.
Aha!
Every time I see that
Hello,
hair.
Your Highness. Congrats on your wedding.
Not hitched just yet.
Lady Lunafreya's groom-to-be, here in Hammerhead.
Apologies for taking so long.
You best save your apologies for Pawpaw.
Well, that makes you.
Cindy. Sid's grease monkey granddaughter.
Roll her in while I'm still young. Didn't your daddy tell you? She's a custom classic, not some beat-up old clunker.
I actually like Sid in this one.
Prince Noctis.
Although I usually like Sid's.
Yeah.
Prince. Like they took your old man and kicked the dignity out of him.
What?
You got a long way to go, son. And that slackjaw's getting you nowhere fast. She's gonna take a while. Y'all get her in and run along.
Y'all heard him. Let's get moving.
I like how Gladiolus is a full head taller than Prompto, by the way.
Now, play the waiting game.
Never liked that game.
Never any good at it either.
Here's going to sound like a controversial statement, but I actually like Noctis's outfit. Like, there's a couple bits I don't care for, like the fact that there's just this 1 inch of space between his short pants and his boots. But for the most part, it fits for me. Oh well. Time to leave forever.
Oh, hey there, Prince.
What?
Y'all ain't never been out this way before, have you? Go on, have a look around. This'll make sure y'all don't get lost.
Now, her outfit's terrible. I'm never going to defend that thing.
Well, might as well make good use of the extra time.
Take a look at our wares.
A moment, Noct. We've expended the last of our funds on the repairs. I suggest we confer with Cindy.
Broken down and flat broke.
Adding insult to injury.
Old man's in for both after charging us that much.
So, side quests, basically. Yes, select.
Yeah, let's pay him a visit.
I mean, she can wear whatever she wants. That doesn't mean I'm going to like her outfit. And also, that's not a human being who has decided their outfit, so...
She ain't gonna be ready for a while. Y'all need something?
Oh yeah, they played with dialogue options, which, to my knowledge, basically never matter.
We're strapped for cash. Any way we could earn a little?
Oh, now I get it. This must be what Pawpaw meant when he said he was gonna teach them boys a lesson. Told me he ought to have y'all take care of some ornery varmints that have been causing a ruckus around here. I'd be happy to pay y'all for your services if you're up to the challenge. How about it?
Old man's got his eye on you, Noct. Show him what you got.
So, yes, anime isn't real, sorry. Mod. That's funny. Now, I hate to keep laying in with the negatives, but from memory, the map's a negative. I distinctly remember, and in fact, I know I'm not the only one who complained about this, having to be like, open the map and select the point, and then select the travel to the point, and then fast travel to the point, or just actually go there manually with the car, or maybe you have to select this and go this, and there's just way too many button clicks with this map. And it's not really a particularly informative map anyways. Or maybe it was like in the quest thing. I don't know. I remember it being crap, and I remember hating it when I was playing on the PS4. So, slightly amusing thing to me. Noctis can, of course, wield all sorts of stuff because of his nature. And one accessory. Everyone else can wield two things. And one technique and one accessory. Now... Whoa, it just crashed. Hard crashed. That's interesting. For the record, I don't have any cheats on yet, so... Did we save? The game has an autosave. We'll see. Yeah. I guess we can keep track of crashes. Because that gets bad. That gets bad. That's how that works. Yeah, I know, Pico. I'm just relating it to something like, say, FF10-2, which also had very limited gear options. Well, yep, that would have been our most recent. And yeah, for the record, I don't care for this engine. I'm astonished it can handle the cheats we do have as much as it does. Loading. The online menu is now available. So... Okay, we didn't crash this time. So here's the talent menu that I mentioned earlier. As I said, I honestly don't think this is a positive or a negative. I think this is just kind of here. Because it's just basic stuff for the most part. You know, increase your recovery while in cover, increase recovery while hanging, boost an ally's defense after taking them out of danger. You know, like I said, simple stuff. Let's see here. One thing I do eventually want to get, though, is regenerate and... Oh, where is it? No. Tech debt is a very long-standing concept nowadays. What the hell is it? Like, I just must be blind. There's a specific ability I want to get, and it's one for Ignis. Apparently I'm an idiot, because I just don't see it. Well, it's been a discussion point recently, Eric. We were talking about FF14 and tech debt as well. Although you never answered my question. Like I said, I don't care for this. It's not a horrible thing, it's just something I don't care for. So this is just kind of a neutral for me. So then we've got our skill menu. Near as I can tell, this doesn't really mean anything. Like, it barely increases the value of some of the things you can do, and that's kind of it. This is the spell crafting system, which we're going to try to use, although we don't have anything right now, so apparently we actually can't. Inventory. And, of course, you know, data log. It wouldn't be an FF13 game without a data log. There's also timed quests, which we should totally do. We're not doing that. So I guess we do...
Hey there, Prince!
Right. So we gotta do this again.
Y'all ain't never been out this way before,
Wait a
have you?
minute. I can't
Go
skip
on,
the
have a look
cutscene?
around. This'll make sure y'all don't get lost.
I guess I was kind of short.
Well, might as well make good use of the extra time.
Whoa! They got Ebony out here. Oh, Ignis is gonna flip. Wait, what's a gill?
Unlike most service stations that cater only to customers of the automotive variety, Hammerhead offers food and trinkets for their drivers as well. Coupled with Sid and Sydney's frank but friendly conversational style, this outpost serves as an oasis that soothes the souls of roadsters weary of laden plains. First-time visitors beware. If you wish to remain on Sid's good side, refrain from asking about the origin of the garage's name. New regional information has been added to the archives.
Take a look at our wares.
A moment, Noct. We've expended the last of our funds on the repairs. I suggest we confer with Cindy.
Broken down and flat broke.
Adding insult to injury.
Old man's in for both after charging us that much.
Yeah, let's pay him a visit.
She ain't gonna be ready for a while. Y'all need something?
Yes, I need a dialogue wheel.
We're strapped for cash. Any way we could earn a little?
Oh. Now I get
Old
it.
man's got his eye on you, Noct. Show him what you got.
But don't go running around after dark. The demons are liable to rip y'all to shreds.
Nah, I'm fine.
This ought to be enough for a place to stay. Just between us, though. Don't tell Pawpaw.
Okay. Moving on. Hi, Huthor. So, while we're discussing positives and negatives,
Ignis, we're going.
On my way.
we must discuss the greatest positive of all time. Behold. Okay, in all seriousness, I've actually heard varying opinions about this, because that's a real brand in real life. Cup of noodles. I could buy those at my local grocery store. This isn't exactly unheard of. I mean, you remember that awful Coke commercial for FF9 back in the day? JP remembers. You know, I find myself suddenly hungry for a cup of noodles. Now, to be blunt, I do like the side quest related to this, and I plan to do it later. It's just... I mean... This is literally product placement inside of a Final Fantasy game. And I guess my usual thought on that is it depends on how the product placement is done. What in the world? Oh, I see the problem. But, like, for example, you want to see bad product placement, see the Godzilla film. Not the recent one, the one with Dr. Pepper in it. If you're a Godzilla fan, you know what I'm talking about. But, if you're going to have product placement, at least doing something with it makes a degree of sense to me. And I did laugh at the Cup of Noodles quest, so... You know, whatever, basically. Anyways, thank you very, 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 very much, JP. As ever and as always, appreciate. Thank you. If you happen to know what you'd like to do that, to do with that, to put that towards future streams, just let me know. And thank you again, JP. Now, I wasn't Noida. You got it. You got it. Now, I wasn't actually going to talk about the product placement. It just came up because it was there.
Looks like we found our first targets. Ready, Noct?
Got all those arms at your disposal? Use them! Knocked! Back me up!
Knocked rules!
No big deal.
Hey! Where'd you learn that one, Knocked?
Not the time for horseplay!
Meaning to do that?
Excellent work. On we go.
Well, funnily enough, the last review we did for this, we not only didn't record the actual review, but we were using a different mental format at the time. I basically consider every review I did prior to, I believe, Secret of Mana to not be valid. And I believe that's the one. Can anyone do me a favor and check that on the website? It's the very first review on the Premier Runs list on the website. So, we do have to discuss this. Travel time. Now, this isn't that far. This is just 400 feet.
You're gonna know what hit 'em. Let's do this.
Whoops, that's not even close to what I was trying to do. Yes, GP is gameplay positive. GN would be gameplay negative, SP would be story positive, and SN, excuse me, would be story negative.
Keep it together!
Oh, that's why. So yeah, the car is road-bound, or at least it was. I think they actually patched that at some point.
Gladio, do it! Nice work, Gladio. All right, we'll be done in no time.
So yeah, they patched the.
Let's get on with it.
They patched the car to make it go off-road, but the game was never really designed for the car to go off-road. So,
where are we headed anyway?
Nowhere until the repairs are done. Then we head for Golden Key.
Then after that, we hop a boat, and before you know it, Loverboy's hitched.
Wait for car repairs, then wedding bells in the air. Got it.
Almost there. Give it your all.
Get lost!
Hey, knock! Warp strike to catch him off guard!
I don't actually know, Rex. I guess we'll find out.
Despair.
Right there!
Brilliant.
No big deal.
Don't wear yourself out like that. Take cover and rest up.
No, Korgoth. No, 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 no.
Outstanding, Noct.
Yep.
Nice. Mission complete.
Who could this be? Hello?
Hey, it's Cindy. How goes the hunting?
Actually, we just finished.
That's great, because I got one more hunt for y'all. Only this time, it's for a person. Fella named Dave went off, and we ain't heard from him since.
Got it. We'll kill him immediately.
Old shack nearby.
Old shack. Oh, got it. We'll take a look.
Time to kill him.
So, what did Cindy say?
Needs us to find some Dave guy.
He went missing?
Not missing. Said he's holed up in that shack.
Not that I'm aware of, Disco. Unless I'm just completely misunderstanding your question. Yes, I did, Kevin. Although I did give it several negatives, I think. And I stand by those.
What's this?
Oh my god, there was a sighting of a monster nearby.
Get out of here!
How did they get that close before they managed to shout a warning? And we didn't even notice. Oh, whatever.
Easy as they come.
Prompto's here! Try this!
You're on fire today!
What can I say?
So long! Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, what about the shack over there?
That's another potential negative, by the way. I know what you're thinking. What? But that's awesome! Wait until we've heard it 37 times. Basically, one of the potential negatives is a negative I actually gave to Spider-Man as well. The randomly generated or randomly selected banter gets old. Really old. The manually selected stuff, the banter that's like specific to an event or a quest or a hunt or whatever, that's great. But the random banter, there's a lot of repeats there. Way too many repeats.
Not yet. I've got a plan.
What are we looking at?
I'm sorry, Alex. I find your question very
It's a
amusing.
saber tusk. It skewers prey with its tusks, extracting game from the safety and comfort of burrows.
That's a bit heartless.
Don't think we'll be befriending him.
How are we?
Getting by.
I suppose I haven't actually answered you, Alex.
Didn't mean to do that.
I've actually mentioned several times I love the general idea of having a group of people whose job it is to, on a local level, keep things safe. Lufia did something like this. Breath of Fire did something like this. The Witcher series does something like this. Final Fantasy 15 does something like this. It's a very common concept, and I usually like it.
Well, and look who's in here. The man of the hour. Dave, right? Been looking for you.
Didn't mean to cause y'all any trouble. I've been stuck here on account of my sprained ankle. Yeah, something funny about them varmints. I gave them hell, but couldn't finish the job. Still one mean mutt about. Well, y'all don't look much like hunters, but what do you say? Put that puppy to rest for me?
Ask my friends, which I'm going to pick basically every time, by the way.
Sounds too dangerous to be let alone. Tell us where to go. Y'all got guts, that's for sure. Let me tell you where I last saw 'em. The people are at risk, Noct. You have a royal duty to ensure their safety. Huh.
Yes, I have done a review of Octopath Traveler, although you probably don't want to see it, if we're being honest. Now, what is the sprint button? Ah!
It would be wise to rest up before we set out.
A formidable foe awaits. By the way, if it's not obvious, this is all tutorial.
In that case, let's find a spot to make camp.
Like this.
The hunters are really out in full force around here, huh?
L3!
Guard or something?
Similar, though technically a civilian outfit.
They've definitely seen a lot more action than we have.
Is it cool that we rock Crown's Guard outfits?
Be worse not to. They made them especially for us.
Even got a sweet insignia on them.
In the Crown's Guard, your attire identifies you, so wear it with pride.
Hang on. Right. Holding attack? Ah, there we go. Yes, that is sprint. Thank you. So you'll notice you can actually turn off the stamina bar. It's just a toggle. That's not a cheat. It's just a frickin' menu option. I'm not sure when they added that. But I'm glad they did, because, frankly, travel time is bad in this game.
And here we are.
Let's call it a day.
I'll see what I can whip up.
Oh, does it? Well, I'm going to have to test that, then. God, I can literally recognize the brands of the camping equipment they're using. So apparently you can still run out of stamina. Well, negative for stamina. What was that quote again, Takoida? I was actually going to be impressed by the fact that they decided to toggle that off. It's such a meaningless thing anyways. Let's see, what should we make? Oh yeah, I'm going to give a plus to the food. I haven't decided if it's positive or negative. I just wanted you to quote it for me, Takoida. Because I don't feel like playing the video right now. Let's see. Oh, that sounds good. We'll do that one. I mean, they went way out of their way to emphasize the cooking of this game. Like, a little bit much. You know what I mean? All right, hang on. Let me. So, let's pull up the review thing here. Yeah, the food thing is just weird. No, Myron. Although I'm going to make some other food in my show, hopefully, if I ever have time. I literally have no prepared food right now, so I'm going to have to probably cut off a little bit early to cook lunch. Cooking takes so much time. It's so irritating. See, this is why I need a droid. I want to give a plus to the food. Probably only one, because it's not really significant. It's just enjoyable. I like the amount of attention to detail they put into it. I like the variety. I like the getting the new recipes. I like the trying out new stuff. I like how it looks, and I like how they present it. Story or gameplay? What do you guys think? I was kind of leaning towards gameplay as well, mostly because it's kind of a graphicsy thing, as well as it literally does give gameplay elements. It gives you a gameplay bonus, and, as Takoida says, it's not actually mandatory. We can just kind of skip it entirely. You basically never have to cook in the entire game. If we add a story thing, I think that would be later, because it's going to come up again later. So I think for the mere... I think we're going to put it on gameplay. I think for the mere existence of the cooking mechanic. So the cooking mechanic, presentation, graphics, attention to detail, and general flavor. As well as stat influence. And yeah, I do like how they do the save points thing. So let's talk about the leveling mechanic. Semi-often, admittedly, Kevin. That's one of the reasons we have to ask these questions every now and again. So the way you level in this game is you build up experience, and then you have to go to a save point, aka you have to camp or stay at an inn, in order to have that experience actually fold into your character. Now, on the face of it, that feels like a weird addition. However, the relevant point is that if you go to certain inns, including some that are rather expensive, you gain a bonus to the experience you get, a percentage bonus. This is something I actually did deliberately in the original Premiere run, which I got yelled at for constantly, because Premiere run was awful. But the idea was I was trying to bank up as much experience as I could in order to go and hit the inn with the tons of bonus in order to just get tons and tons of levels from it. So that's kind of neat. I do have to say something, though. And I know that I feel like I say this a lot, but why are levels in this game? Like, I know that sounds like such a strange thing to mention, but as with several RPGs that we've covered, especially more modern RPGs, levels don't give much. Like, there are a few stat changes that change from your levels, most notably your HP. And you get AP from it, and AP is how you more or less directly apply that to the sphere grid in order to improve your abilities. But the levels themselves are... The amount of vertical leveling in this game is very minor, in short. So minor that, again, I'm not actually sure why it's even in the game. As mentioned earlier, you can get to level bajillion, like what is it, level 100-something? Level 200-something? 120. Thank you. You get to level 120. I knew it was above the 99 cap. Again, not a negative, but it's a design choice that just kind of makes me tilt my head. It's up to you, Korgoth. I generally prefer, if I have an option, my preference order goes Switch, PC, everything else. So I suppose I would recommend this on the Switch, and then the PC, and then everything else, Korgoth. So, speaking of gameplay mechanics that are completely unnecessary fluff...
I know. I dig it too.
Hey, isn't that...
Isn't what?
just my imagination?
So, this is another bit of basically flavor, kind of similar to the cooking thing that they just added in. The photos by Prompto. Most of which are pure fluff. In fact, they're stuff that didn't even happen. But they tend to be based on stuff we've done. So, for example, the fact that we went by the banner, you'll notice we now got a shot of Gladiolus. Now, I'm pretty sure that didn't actually happen when we wandered over there. But they decided, because I wandered over there, to slot in a photo of that as if it had been taken. So, in other words, actual effort was done by the designers to basically design photo options based on what you've been doing over the last X amount of time up until you camp. So, This is actually kind of cool, and I do like how much effort they put into it. Some of this is just like straight from the cutscenes. Like that's just straight from the cinematic we saw earlier. Some of them are just character pieces because we have to show off Sydney's assets there. I'm kidding. But for the most part, I like this. I like this as a thing. And of course it's going to come up in the ending. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to saunter over to the thing here, and I'm going to add another story positive, but it's going to be an aggregate. No, Valvedrix. Give her the picture of Sydney. Or Cindy, where the hell her name is. Pick the cup of noodle. Okay, that I might do. That I might do. Look at his face there. How do I save? Here, I'll save that photo. Basically, this is a plus for lack of a better way to put it, for camping, for the several elements of flavor lore and presentation of us being out on a road trip. That's really what that boils down to. What's funny, Kevin, is I'm actually pretty slow on this keyboard. You should see me on a proper mechanical keyboard. I can hit some very high words per minute.
Like a father to her.
Ever since they got back, Sid's been the only one looking after her.
Rather more than a middling mechanic can handle.
All things considered, I'd say she turned out okay.
But like any girl, you just need to treat her right.
Treat her wrong and Sid'll stuff his wrench where the sun don't shine.
Take care of the car, and it will take care of us.
Remember, Coleman brand. Coleman. 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 Bye, Coleman. Bye, Coleman. Anyways. But yes, we actually literally have magical draw points, which we tend to go to for camping. Although, obviously, that's not the only place we can camp. Speaking of drawing, while we're on the subject. Yeah, more or less literally drawing. But we should actually have enough to make some spells now, and I do actually want to do what Dakota requested, so let's see if we can fiddle with it a bit. Do we have anything? We can heal cast, but I don't want to do that. Venom cast. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. I think I missed it. Hang on, scroll up. I get you. No, I get your mentality there, Kevin. And no, you're not doing what I referenced in that episode. I don't have anything, really, so whatever. Whatever, we have fire right now. Escape. Leave the menu. What the crap hell? Leave menu. Oh god, I can't seem to leave the menu. I literally can't leave them. There we go. There we go. Okay. God. Hi. So, hang on. So, speaking of the menu. Stamina bar. Stamina bar. So, why does the stamina bar exist again? Can anyone defend the stamina bar for me? Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Sometimes I wonder if we'll ever sit inside that beautiful car again.
Sitting most of the day was pretty nice.
Napping was even better.
Over there. That's it, right?
Huh. That's a dual horn?
Yes, but not your run-of-the-mill breed. We'd best make quick work of it.
Wait a sec.
What? Scared, big guy?
You ought to be too. Thing's vicious.
You sure? Looks tame to me.
Yeah.
Look out!
Yeah! Shamu's blow!
Nice one.
It's not over yet!
I was say, can I actually play this, please?
Bring it.
Yes, I know. I've already done the tutorial, thank you. Let's do that.
Nice work, Gladio.
Yep.
Count on it. Pluto. Gladio, do it.
You ready? All right, boys, we're in the home stretch.
Hell yeah.
Whoa! Look at this guy.
We all good?
Better than good.
Good to go.
Yeah, actually, if you, I don't know if you remember this, Dakota, but I learned the value of the party abilities towards the end of the last playthrough.
Hello?
Hey, Dave just called and said he's safe. Thanks for finding him.
Okay.
Nice work, y'all. By the way, the old girl's looking good as new. Oh, while I got ya, if y'all want to fix her up before you roll out, let me know.
That's right, Dad says he left something in the trunk for me. Sure.
Sounds good.
She'll be waiting at the garage.
Oh, I never answered you, Korgoth, sorry. Sorry, God, I am really out of it today. I actually noticed that earlier, Disco. Grats. Sorry, I didn't actually say grats.
So, who's up next behind the wheel?
Ignis should take it and never let go.
It helps that he can keep 4 eyes on the dash.
I couldn't even keep one.
Not sure I'd do any better.
Put me in the driver's seat.
Good. Because I need the legroom in back.
Okay, so I'm actually going to pause for a second, because I need to talk about a couple of things here. Okay, first of all, I do want to address Korgoth's question. So the Pocket Edition is available on the Switch. Now, the reason the Switch is my favorite option when it comes to gaming is mostly because well, I can actually summarize very simply. It's because of this. I've talked about this many times before, so I'm just going to talk about this briefly. The fact that I can have 2 separate controllers, segregate one in each hand while playing a game, is an overwhelming positive to me. I cannot tell you in words how much this helps me with comfort and with stance, and just, yeah, the ergonomics of this is phenomenal. This is awesome, especially as I've been getting older. I really wish they would release an official version of this that frickin' works on my PC. Yes, I know you can mod it to work on the PC, and I've failed miserably at that task. So that's the biggest reason why I love the Switch. It also has portability and a decent library and a few other nice features, but that's the big one. Now, that being said, you don't have FF15 proper on the Switch. You have FF15 Pocket, which is why I only kind of added that as kind of an addendum. However, the Pocket Edition is surprisingly good. It's not great, and it's not the main game, but it does, you know, a decent amount to try and parallel FF15 into, you know, that format. You can also get it on the phone. I would never recommend that. Why would I? Now, why do I prefer PC over PS4? Ultimately, there's not really, like, go ahead, call me Master Race, whatever insult, go for it. But the general reason I prefer a game like this on PC, or any game on PC over console, is because I just simply have more options on PC. I can mod on PC, I can edit on PC, I can cheat on PC, it's easier to stream on PC.
So only so far a man can walk.
Our Crown City upbringing didn't prepare us for this.
Pretend you're walking to the car.
And of course, I have the option to play with mouse and keyboard or with a controller. In fact, I have a PS3 controller hooked up to this. And if I wanted to, in fact, I'll show it off right now. Hang on, give me a second. If I wanted to, I could reach down here and grab the controller. And I'm pretty sure, yep, there we go. And I could just play this with my PlayStation controller like this. Whee! See? Woo, woo. I'm not going to do that, of course. Screw that mess. But you get the idea. So, yeah, for me, a PC is going to be a better choice than any console except for the Switch. And the only reason the Switch is better is because of the ergonomics of the Switch. Does that make sense? That's why my preference order is always in that order. That only really applies for multi-console releases, of course.
It's rude to keep a girl waiting. You better apologize. What is that?
Bird.
A live hurricane. That thing's like half bird, half storm, half airship.
You realize that's 3 halves.
Would explain its size.
Awesome in every sense.
Okay, that was actually funny. What the hell is that? And then Melkor donates. Hang on just a second. Interesting. Well, I will go ahead, first of all, I'll go ahead and add that to Grandia on the Switch. Is that out yet? I mean, it doesn't matter. I got 2 more Loreruns to go after this, so. But nevertheless, thank you very much. Much appreciated and much obliged. Thank you, Melkor Blade. Now, I do have to add one thing, and someone mentioned it in chat, and it's a very valid point. Now, I prefer a PC because I already have one. In fact, I have a very good one. If I didn't, I could see many arguments for preferring console over PC. Not the biggest and most obvious one being price. You know, this computer, which is a high-tier computer, is substantially more expensive than my PS4 Pro, even with the SSD I slammed into that thing, right? Also, if I happen to be someone who doesn't know how to make a PC, then that's a whole other can of worms, because if you're going to buy a prefab, then not only is it going to be worse, but it's also going to cost more. And if I kind of don't know what to do, like if I don't know what to do as far as building a PC, but I still want to buy the PC, then there's a possibility of screwing things up. Or having to hire someone to do it. And basically, there are barriers to entry to high-end PC gaming, and I fully acknowledge and understand that. It's one of the reasons I've been supportive of the existence of consoles, even though consoles have basically become mini PCs. Because you just buy a PS4 and you're good, right? Or you buy an Xbone and you're good. You don't need to think, okay, so I need this graphics card to go against this motherboard, and I might want to get a second one and SLI them together, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. But, to finish my earlier point, again, I already have a very good PC. Therefore, in my case, I'm going to go with the PC, you know, over the other ones. Because I already got it. The barrier to entry isn't there. I'm already in.
Not at all.
Yeah, the Switch Pro, which is probably happening at this point, thanks China, thanks Trump, is something I'm interested in. If you don't get that joke, don't stress it. Okay. So we need to do something, actually, really quick. Sorry. I know. This is the run button. There we go. So I don't know if the stamina bar deserves a negative in its own right. I have seen it, yes, Mr. Egypt. I don't care for it that much, if I'm being honest. And I don't think it adds much to the story, really. Like, it's a nice bonus little side thing, but otherwise, I don't think it's particularly relevant. Yeah, so, okay, for those of you who don't understand the joke I just made, to summarize excessively...
Man, it's hot.
Then lose the jacket.
There's going to be a... they're tossing around the idea of adding tariffs between China and the United States, which, to put it as simply and bluntly as possible, is an awful idea. I don't want to get into the actual economic side discussion. We've already did an entire Lore Week section on it. Point being, as a consequence of those tariffs, which are probably going through, a lot of major companies that have a lot of products that are produced and put together in China are looking to get out of that, basically to find other supply chains outside of China. Now, that leads to the leak, because some of the things that the Nintendo corporate in Japan have been pushing for new supply chains is new stuff that might actually be indicating of a Switch Pro.
How far are we going?
Got plenty of time to figure it out.
Okay, now I'm not just walking out here for no reason, because I want to show off something. So, there's a pseudo Hearthstone in this game, which, as you can see, just warps you straight back to where you last rested, right? Now, eventually, you'll also have the option to return to the car, so the car will eventually become more closely related to an actual Hearthstone. You can call the car. You can also tow the car, which gets the car back to Hammerhead. And you can go to the return to the entrance to an area you're exploring. Now, the other problem, though, hang on, let me find... Here we go. Now, to my knowledge, there's no way to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and try here. Basically, I'm trying to see if there's any kind of fast travel, and I'm pretty sure there isn't, other than the hearthing thing that I just kind of mentioned. There is fast travel. Alright. How? I mean, it's possible. I just haven't unlocked it yet, because, again, we're still in the tutorial. Ah, that's right. You have to be in the car. I remember that. Yeah. So let me just go ahead and start building a negative aggregate here. Because... well, because I hate a lot of the open world aspects of this game. Just to put that as bluntly as I can. So, aggregate. I know, right, Rax? I mean, 13 was aggressively linear, but honestly, I think 13's problems were unrelated to its linearity. I've talked about that many times. And I've gotten flack for that opinion, too. Yeah, the level design, if I was to name one thing that pisses me off the most about 13, like the most, it would probably be the level design. In my opinion, the level design of FF13 was just awful. Someday I hope to sit down and actually compare an area of FF10 versus an area in FF13 and really show them side by side, like right next to each other, so I can really get across my point. So anyways, this is basically an aggregate for several of the irritants we've said so far. I want your guys' opinion on the stamina bar thing. Like, to me, the stamina bar is just another irritant related to the, for lack of a better way to put it, bad design of the open world element of 15.
On your left!
Thanks.
The main reason this irritates me is mostly because of the travel time, as opposed to the stamina bar itself. Because as... oh, I actually screwed up the timing on that one. Well, I was doing it correctly earlier. You can refill the whole stamina bar with correct timing. I just screwed it up. So this means, by the way, that the only recourse we have to get back to town is what I'm doing right now. Now, again, we're in the tutorial. But basically, I feel like there's several elements of this game where the distance between point A and point B is higher than it should be. This problem actually goes away pretty much the moment we leave the open world section, honestly. But in this area, right here, like, God, this is the weirdest design. In this area right here, there's just too many sections where it's like, go to this point. Good night, Platy. Get some rest or else.
Oh.
What do you mean, like this? Like if you could just do this infinitely? Which I can't, of course. Which is actually kind of strange to me. Like, so, okay, to continue the discussion. As weird as this may sound, the travel time between locations would probably be a lot easier if the MP for warp travel wasn't a factor out of combat. Like, the moment you get into combat, sure, because there's a logical reason behind that. But out of combat, I mean, why bother, if that makes any sense? It just makes it take longer. And, well, not only would it decrease the amount of time you spend getting from point A to point B, but it would add a, for lack of a better way to put it, cool factor to traveling, rather than this. And just because I feel like pointing this out, and I know Rax will probably get a kick out of this, we've actually done tests. This is literally faster than just running. Now, I know that people have since discovered even faster methods of moving in speedrunning FF15, but when people first started speedrunning FF15, this was how people moved. Because it is faster.
Might want to stock up on potions and stuff.
Nice. You're being helpful for a change.
What do you mean for a change?
And I suppose that brings me to an interesting point, and this is a thing we need to discuss. It's the Zelda roll problem. Does that deserve a negative? And I know that sounds like a strange thing, but the problem is it's a very common problem. And so, okay, let me explain this. First of all, it requires you to do something other than just going from point A to point B, which isn't interesting. It's basically just tapping a button or lining up or whatever. And second of all, it's usually something that's irritating or frustrating to do. Like, when we do eventually get to the Zelda Lorerun, I'm going to do my damnedest to not roll everywhere, even though it's going to be in my instinct to do so, not because I like rolling everywhere, but because rolling everywhere is faster. Now, in, like, for example, Ocarina of Time, it's actually faster to backwalk, but you get my point, right? So, for example, in Kingdom Hearts, I wouldn't give that a negative, because for the most part, it's not a thing in Kingdom Hearts. Like, there's faster ways to get from point A to point B in Kingdom Hearts, so I don't add that for the Zelda roll thing. In, like, Ocarina, or most of the 3D Zeldas, yeah, no, I absolutely think that's an issue. And, unfortunately, I've never actually reviewed any of those games to date, so I can't actually say whether or not I have given them a negative for that. But that's why I want to discuss this now. If we were reviewing Ocarina of Time right now, do you think the dodge roll problem gets a negative? And I honestly want people's opinions on this. Because this boils down to an idea, and I've heard a lot of reviewers say something along these lines. The idea is that you have added a way for the character to move quicker, and you've made it either irritating or just kind of annoying to do. To use the direct example again, Ocarina of Time. Yeah! I can stop, because I think you get the point. Mentally, I freely admit that I've kind of started to block that out when I play the Zeldas. Like I said, I'll try not to do that when I play them for the lore run. But the fact that I have to make an entire mental block in my mind to ignore something that irritates me just because I want to get from point A to point B faster, right? Which, of course, leads me to... Hell, I don't even need to prove this. You notice this is noticeably faster, right? Like, even just at a cursory glance, you can tell how much faster that is. And I can't be the only player who, when I picked up this game, within minutes figured out that this was faster. It was one of the first things we did. It was right around here. And I was like, hey, this feels faster, guys. And then we did a freaking test and timed it. And I was like, yeah, this is faster. And then Rax stabbed me and so I could stop doing this.
Wow, they got a lot of different stuff here, huh?
That's how it works.
Like, have I made my point already? In short, I don't think this deserves a full negative here, because, for example, to use the direct example again, in Ocarina of Time, it's worse. Because in Ocarina of Time, it's shit, which is just so much more irritating. But I do still think it's irritating, and I do think it's related to the distance problem. So I think we're going to bake that into the open world aggregate that we're already working on here. See you around next time. Well, actually, I kind of agree with you, Puzzle Fury, and I'm not gonna be able to demonstrate why. But let's presume I'm playing Ocarina. I'm like, oh, roll, link the game, and then I accidentally roll. So I'm trying to roll this way, but I accidentally roll this way. Bonk! Or worse, what if I was doing the back hop thing, which is actually faster than the rolling? Anyways, what do we call that? I'm just going to call it the Zelda roll. Is that cool? New Lorem, Zelda roll. Because, I mean, Zelda roll, right? That's very indicative and very clear of what it's referring to. Because everyone knows about the Zelda roll, right? Hell, in Wind Waker, you have to do the Zelda roll very precisely, because if you screw it up, then you actually are slower, which just makes it even more irritating. But anyways, moving on. At some point, we'll get the car here. Hi, my name's the Lore Runner. If you don't understand how lore runs work, this is a good example.
Sorry about the wait. Ain't she purty?
She's almost too pretty for the road.
We're talking about the car, right?
She's back. We should all get a picture with her.
I'm joking. I actually don't think she's attractive at all, but that's just me. It's mostly the hair.
All the more reason to ride with care. Oh, and before I forget, would y'all mind making a little delivery for me?
Ask my friends.
Ooh, me? I'll do it.
Someone's eager.
Thought you'd say yes. So I already put it in the trunk. There should be a motel on your way to Galden. If y'all wouldn't mind giving that to the owner, that'd be swell.
Grandpa like grandkid.
Now that she's all polished up and ready for the road, would you care to take her for a little test drive, Noct?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
And I needn't remind you to exercise caution.
The Dragon Age lore run would probably be the answer to your question, Disco. So, auto, which is you select a destination, and you go boosh. So that's the fast travel thing we mentioned earlier. So I was remembering that correctly. Let's see, I believe you can do it to a quest location or to a parking spot. Like, you can just select them this way. And thank you very much, Final Cloud. Much appreciate the sub, as always. But you probably know what I'm going to ask you.
Time to go.
All right.
Alright, I don't have control yet, that's right. So...
Overhead is like no garage ever. You know?
One would expect no less of purveyors to the crown.
I'll miss it once this road trip's over with.
There's no reason you can't pay them a visit anytime you please. I'm sure Cindy will be glad to look after your car. Oh, right.
So, that's what this is about.
If you need, I could always lend you the regalia.
Whoa! Thanks for the offer, but once we're back in the Crown City, I think I better score my own wheels.
So in case you didn't catch that, that was me holding left as hard as I could, attempting to crash to that car. Basically, you just hold forward. Which, whatever. I haven't decided. Basically, this would probably get a negative from me, if not for the fact that we can change this later thanks to patches. Yeah, we don't have much options here. This is me holding left as hard as I can. This slow drift. And then this slow drift. Park. Park.
Everybody out.
No. Crap. Turn around. No. Okay.
Should be a nice change of pace.
Hang on. Let's try that again.
Time to go.
That's an interesting question, Tabigo. Okay, turn around. Okay, let's just reverse then. That's the radio, by the way. I don't own any of the soundtracks yet, so...
I'd say that's far enough for today. Might be wise to leave the driving to me until we found our bearings out here.
Okay, what is that with that? That's been happening regularly. Have you noticed that? Oh, whatever. I've been told I have to not play any FF6 music this run, so that's going to be a bit of a... Oh, look at that! What is with that? Now I'm trying to repeat the bug. No, that's okay. Oh god, I can't exit out of this. I'm stuck! Cancel! Leave! Exit! Oh, Jesus Christ. Hello, Indigo Neptune. It's nice. It's nice. It's great. That's fantastic. Jesus Christ. So anyways, God, I was just trying to interact with a thing I saw to make sure I don't miss anything. This is actually what I was thinking of.
I could eat a horse.
Let me get this shot. Oh, love the lighting.
Saw a Magitech trooper the other day. Those things are downright unsettling.
Can I just say I'm weirded out by the usage of their usage of the term Magitech, since it's kind of inaccurate. Okay, so... Yes, I don't want to be Commander Shepard, damn it. Yeah, the whole reason I did that was I was trying to get that missable combo thing.
Deliver the goods. Well, thank you kindly. We'll take it out of the trunk, so you all just sit tight.
Damn it, Leander. Well, where are the Imperials coming from, though?
Umbra.
Bringing us stuff. Atta boy.
A dog can really track a scent.
Certainly knows how to find us.
How do you always know, boy?
Just a sec.
Okay, quick. We need to characterize Lunafreya so people know she exists before she dies. Spoiler.
Flower. It's the same kind we sewed our crowns from. Oh yeah, Sill blossoms. So, I have a favor to ask. Take the notebook with you when you go. Sure. That's not all. I want you to put something in the book and send it back.
It's come time for me to leave Tenebrae. We'll go with that one. So I've noticed something, Dakota. I don't know if it's related to the issue you're having, but the rendering is weird when it comes to the in-engine cutscenes.
Take care out there.
And only periodically. Like,
I know. You're not gonna tell me.
Then don't ask.
What was that about?
like every now and again, there's just like lines that happen as people are moving.
Let's see ourselves to Golden.
Not even moving quickly, just moving. It's weird. Yeah, the game's render. I mean, we've talked about this before. This engine's kind of crap, just to put it as bluntly as possible. Like they managed decent stuff with it, but this is a crap engine.
Hold on a sec, sir. I found an envelope addressed to Meldacio inside the package.
Meldacio? The Hunter HQ?
Yes, sir. The headhunter ought to be around here somewhere. Mind making one more delivery?
What do you say, Noct? Might as well while we're in the neighborhood.
Side quests are separate adventures that do not progress the story. In case you've never heard of a side quest before. Yep, that's great. So, for the record, we're going to be doing almost no side quests. Just FYI.
Smells good.
That is really getting irritating. So the one thing to do. We're going to play Justice Monsters. Justice Monsters 5. The evil grim gargoyle and his Bahamut grand fleet have launched an invasion of the peaceful Nova Galaxy, threatening the freedom of its monster denizens. Back once more to fight for what's right, the Justice Monsters zoom in to save the day. High five for justice! Whoops. I mean, wouldn't you, Rex? I mean, how many times has that happened in a Square Enix game? I think I love the bomb most on the left there. You notice Carbuncle's there too, by the way. Yeah, we all know JM4 was actually the better one. They didn't need to add the Lamia character. It was just needless pandering to the Justice Monster 3 crowd, my opinion anyways. Oh, whew, that was pretty rough. Okay, so yeah, we're done.
Man, I'm really looking forward to meeting the mechanic at a Hammerhead.
The famous one from Crown City? Hey, wait, since when are you into cars?
I'm not, but they say this one's got a smoking hot bod.
Huh. Must be pretty fit for an old fella.
It's your vacation. Why settle for anything less than the absolute best in comfort at the LaVille? Enjoy 5-star service and make your next getaway unforgettable. Call us to reserve your slice of paradise. Level up your life at the LaVille Hotel.
Man, that smells good.
Saw a Magitech trooper the other.
I could go for a cold one of these.
Okay, so I was trying to listen to their convo, and I accidentally interrupted it. Oh, we're doing the Cup and Noodle side quest. You know we are. The only question is which we do.
It is. Not too salty. Just right.
KMA announces GMV update to help the heroes for great justice.
Fancy schmancy spices that those snobs in Golden like.
I keep wanting to hold down right mouse, which is detective mode in Witcher 3. Oh my god, I might have to give a negative for that stuttering. That is really starting to piss me off. Like, that is actually awful. Where's Gladiolus? Ah, this thing.
Looks wild.
Behemoth meat. I mean, I wonder what behemoths taste like. Ah, gets my mouth watering just thinking about it.
Well, look who it is. I really owe you boys one.
Make that 2.
Can't seem to catch a break. Yeah, looks like they found another one.
Wait, found another what?
Tag. Us hunters keep them on our person at all times as identification.
What? In case you forget who you are?
More like so no one else forgets who they were.
Hunters lead a life of danger, and sometimes these tags are the only things that make it back in one piece. It's our job to deliver them to the families of the fallen. As it were, I came out here to do just that. If y'all happen to find any tags lying around out there, would you do me a favor and send them my way?
Yeah, sure.
Word is somebody spotted a tag around these parts. Try asking the local tipster. He'll point you in the right direction.
If you're paying attention, we're basically still being tutorialized here. This is the here's how side quests work tutorial.
Those tags are heavy stuff.
They certainly carry emotional weight. We'd best find and return them.
And give the families peace of mind.
Let's start by following up on that hot tip.
That's horrible, Mr. Egypt. You should totally link that to me.
Welcome to the Crow's Nest. You want something to eat?
Yeah, you can also buy food.
So what would you like to know? Thanks for your business.
Yes, Final Cloud.
There's more dangerous things prowling about these days.
So, honest question. Another one of those honest questions. Do you think skippable conversations is a negative? I should say, do you think this specific implementation of skippable conversations is a negative? Nice touch, by the way, as I just kind of showed off. You can actually see the flashlight that we carry on our chests there. Imperial's above... Yeah. I was going to say, I can think of plenty of other games that do a lot better job of it. And, see, I think the critical part for me isn't just that the conversations are skippable, but there's some legitimately good conversations that are skippable. You know, actual character or flavor or lore or whatever. And in almost every case, to memory, they're gone once you accidentally skip them. It's, whoops, done. It's a problem I'd expect from a PS2 game, if you know what I mean. Yeah, what you'll probably see is, if you ever see me just kind of stop running or stop sprinting or turned off the cheats, which I haven't even turned on yet, it's because I want to let them finish talking. Lord knows I've screwed that up plenty of times in previous streams, and I've been trying to get better about it, but, you know, whatever.
It came from there.
Yeah, exactly. There is actually a walk button, too. Unlike the sprint thing, the walk thing doesn't bother me. This is more of a role-playing, take your time kind of a thing. This irritates me. Or
Maybe this way?
We should hurry up, though, I agree. Let's go faster. Must go faster.
This will make a fine tent.
Yeah, you'll notice I haven't even turned the cheats back on, Rax, and part of the reason why is that it actually just occurred to me. What I am probably going to do is, as much as I hate to do this, I'm probably not going to use the speed cheat. Even though that's going to slog this down substantially. I am, however, going to turn on a couple of other cheats. I think. I don't need to yet. In fact, I don't need to ever, really. It'll just speed things up.
Jojo, how about this?
Agreed, Leander. And Spider-Man on the PS4 does the same thing. I was actually talking about that in Discord this morning. It's a little bit sad, if we're being blunt, that the tech and design to allow you to actually continue conversations interrupted is such a recent endeavor. Oh yeah, speaking of which, do I have... No, I don't have magic yet. Oh yeah, speaking of which, hang on, let's go ahead and switch my gear here. I actually forgot to do that.
Here goes nothing!
Game's up.
Oh, of course, now they're all dead. Whatever. The big reason I don't like the idea of not having that cheat on is because of sections like this.
Look where you're going! Didn't mean to do that.
No, Dakota, no, I would never use a Frostmourne mod. Don't be silly. More than a few, Rex. What's funny is a lot of the Keyblade mods were just crap. Like, awful texture usage.
You thinking to fairy tale Lady Lunafreya back to the Crown City?
Nah, no need to rush to happily ever after.
Wow. Still can't believe you're actually tying the knot, dude. How does it feel now that it's finally happening?
Fine, I guess.
Ah, come on, you can't fool me. Any guy would be over the moon to marry her.
No big deal.
Yeah, whatever.
So this is kind of going back to what Takoida was just mentioning and what I was just mentioning. Every now and then I basically just have to stop to allow a conversation to finish. And that'll be happening the whole game.
Done good.
Just picking up the pieces, I guess.
Well, try to keep your spirits up. Even though I ain't one to talk, I beat myself up over the lives of the hunters I couldn't save. That's what each one of these tags means to me. They hurt. But if I let that grief keep me from looking for them, then their tags and their lives will be forgotten forever. And that'd hurt more than anything.
Yeah, guess you're right.
Well, that's why I tell all my hunters to collect any tag they see, and I expect you boys to go out and do the same.
So I hope you liked that, because that was one of the most substantial stories from a side quest that we'll be seeing. Like I said, we're basically not doing any of the side quests after this, with, I think, like 3 exceptions. I should also mention that this is obviously an arranged marriage, which is funny because Regis himself was in an arranged marriage too. However, in both cases it was to their childhood friends, and Regis apparently, his marriage actually worked out quite well. Go figure.
Huh.
Thank you very much, Zilok. Much appreciated as always. Now if you'll give me a second, I will jot that down over here. Age of Wonders. There we go. I agree that hunts are better, absolutely. Let's put that under story negative. Or do you think that deserves a gameplay negative? That's actually a good question. The skippable conversations thing. The permanently skip. Let's really add the word there to get this point across. The permanently skippable cutscenes or conversations. Like, I can see that fitting either easily. So let's do this. Gameplay it is. I'm actually going to add a gameplay positive while we're at it, because I was thinking of something. What are the name for the team, the party member attacks? I actually can't think of the term for it. I guess I could just look. Yeah, these things. What are these freaking called? There's like a term for them, and I can't freaking remember it. Techniques. Oh, that's dull. Basically, I like that. I like everything about how they do those. They are a little overpowered, but they're good stuff. Yeah, the link strikes isn't what I was thinking of. Although you can do a link strike on a technique, but yeah, that wasn't what I was thinking of. Alright, so let's save. Let's get a hard save in here. Because, duh. Let's return to the title. Don't worry, I'm doing this for a reason. A Final Fantasy for fans and first-timers. Every time that shows up, by the way. Every single time. It's actually kind of irritating. And then it takes a while to load. And then it takes a while to load. There we go. Okay. So let's get our cheats going. Don't crash this time, please. Come on. There you go. Okay. So, let's see here. Just looking at my options here for cheats. I wonder if I could do a summon at this point, since I haven't encountered Titan yet, right? I'm actually curious. Let's see if we can summon something right now. We just saved, so if this crashes the game, whatever. I need a combat encounter. You know what? Hang on. I feel like going faster. Is that cool with everyone? There we go. See, this is a little better. I guess I should go off the road. Hello? Any demons out here? Hello? Demons. Where are you? Oh, I heard one.
Try to hit him from behind.
Come on. I get my velocity back to normal. There we go. Hey, it's an iron giant. Okay, hang on. Let's see. Alright, let's see if we can summon Bahamut. It just completely crashed the game. It's gonna sound weird, but what do I actually do to trigger the summon? Like, it's basically happening. Looks like it's not doing anything because the music should be different. I know that.
Take cover and heal up, Noct.
No, I know it's RNG, but my point is, like, you have to do something to activate it, right?
Pretty rough.
Looks like the cheat isn't working, though. That's okay. We'll turn that off. Let's turn this on. And we'll see how this works out.
Things are fine. Certainly didn't expect this much trouble.
Doesn't look good.
No use hanging around here.
So anyways. Okay, so that would have been a prompt. So yeah, we can't summon anything yet. Well, that's why we were testing Worm. That's why I was seeing if we could crash the game by trying to summon something at this point in the game.
Not the time for horseplay!
Sorry, buddy. Oops, wrong button. There we go. So I feel this is a little better than the car, personally. Yeah, the demons are portrayed differently, and...
Ignis's cooking really is a class above.
We'll talk about it.
What, you don't think so?
Seems pretty normal to me.
To royalty, maybe. To us plebes, it's anything but.
I mean, Ignis is supposed to be a really good cook. He's probably one of the best major domos ever.
What's up, Iggy? I've come up with a new recipe.
Can't wait to try it.
You know what? Hang on, hang on. Yeah, best bodyguard, best major domo, best cook, most cognizant of state affairs. I said this last time and I'll say this again. Ignis is basically an invaluable person to have as a ruler. The fact that he happens to be friends with Noctis is just bonus points at that point. Sure, Mr. Egypt, go for it.
Real nice here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say he has the best DLC because I haven't played Arden's yet, but of the first three, yeah, absolutely. Lord knows Prompto's had issues.
Ready to set sail?
Just gotta find my sea legs first.
Better hurry.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Gladiolus is a brute and basically nothing else, as far as competency, I mean. And Prompto, well, to be blunt, doesn't have a lot of competency going for him, other than the fact that he's decent with guns. And that's kind of it. It's like, come on, guys. I suppose that's the point, though. Prompto's the friend, Gladiolus is the muscle, Ignis is the everything else.
I'm afraid you're out of luck.
Hey, who's this guy?
Are we?
The boats bring you here.
What about them?
Well, they'll not take you forth.
And what's your story?
This world is imperfect. If only I could make it as beautiful as I. Okay, I'm sorry. I do like Arden as a character a lot, but this is overt as hell. This is incredibly overt right here. Oh my god. Thank you, Bragwin. Much obliged as always. Thank you so much. Although you haven't told me what you want to put it towards, so I'm afraid there's going to be stabbing.
I'm an impatient traveler, ready to turn ship. The ceasefire's getting us nowhere.
What's this? Some sort of souvenir?
They make those?
What? No.
Consider it your allowance.
Huh?
Yeah. And who's allowing us?
A man of no consequence.
Yeah, right.
Hello, Final Harmony.
I said about the port being closed.
Yes. Hi, Final Harmony. Welcome to my stream. We're in the middle of a lore run, so spoilers, obviously. But as I like to say to everyone, I like to talk to people. So if you have any thoughts, comments, questions, interactions, by all means, share, talk, join in, etc. Don't be a stranger. Unless you want to. There's nothing wrong with lurking either. You got it, Bragman. My copy arrived. It's actually right here. See? It's right here. Still in the wrapping, though. So that's going to wait a few months. Just like all of my other streams right now. We got to finish these lore runs, damn it. Crush them like a bug. Okay. Take a drink.
I'm skeptical, though I won't discount the possibility.
I say we go check it out for ourselves.
God, that stuttering is really irritating. Could someone do me a favor and look up the stuttering issue, please?
No place serves it fresher than Galden.
If it's just something I have to live with, then that's a negative. Ignis, yeah, absolutely.
This is amazing.
As I say, if that's an issue with the PC port, then that's an issue with the PC port, and that needs to be addressed. That's awful. Come on. There we go. A VRAM? What? So the game can handle me skyrocketing across the terrain at Mach 7, but it can't handle me walking through town at normal speed. I was like, how many good PC ports have we seen from Square? 3? And I know it's fine on PS4. I've played this game on PS4.
Ah, man. Not a ship in sight.
You know what?
What gives?
Hang on. I have an idea. Gameplay negative, Luminous Engine. Any thoughts? Like, I hate to say that, but I really feel like there are a lot of problems with this game directly and specifically related to that engine issue. So we can just kind of lump those all in there as Luminous Engine. Yes, Raven King, I have all the DLCs. And we'll be talking about the book. Although we're going to save that for later. Hardware lottery. It's not like I don't have a good machine. That's not the issue. So we're going to I just want to pencil in some potential positives for the future so I don't forget. Let's see. Trying to think of other ones off the top of my head. Actually, I think we can go ahead and codify a story positive right now. I know that sounds strange, but basically, there's some really good flavor lore, like, throughout the whole thing. The random people talking in the inn, the adverts that you see here and there, the little, the frickin' pinball machine, the food. Basically, there's a lot of flavor lore all over the place, which is good stuff, in my opinion. It helps make the game feel nice. And it's not quite Lindblom effect, but it's leaning in that direction. I agree, Pico. FF12 is another game that does a lot of flavor lore to it. Although FF12 has better setting building in general. Unfortunately or not, I do agree with Dakota. I think the specific setting building of this game is actually awful. In fact, I want to give it a negative. We'll discuss that later. Like, there are several aspects of this world and this setting that are never explained, or worse, poorly explained. See you around, Mind Blast. Oh, whoa!
According to my sources, the Empire given strict orders not to let any vessels leave the docks of Altissia. Real shame if you were late to your own wedding, right, Prince Noctis? Name's Dino, by the way. Pleasure. The Crown Prince of Lucis bounty hunting in his fancy car. Surely you didn't think it'd go unnoticed. At least not by this reporter. Lucky for you, this reporter has integrity. If you want to remain incognito, I'll respect your wish. In exchange for a favor.
What do you want?
Hey, I knew you'd come around. Let me see your map.
He's there somewhere. Oh God, there he is. Do you see where he is?
All you gotta do is find me some rough gemstones, like this one. Do this, and your ship will come.
And I'm gone.
And the papers will run you out of town. Capiche?
Some kind of hold up, Altissia. Guess we have to stay another night.
Anyways.
He's really got your number, Nox.
Not like we made much effort to keep it secret.
Even if we had, the press always finds a way. We needn't befriend him, but we'd best not make him our enemy.
Smells good.
In short, yeah, sorry. Let's actually talk about the lore implications of what just happened, because that was him blackmailing us straight out. In a semi-polite manner, but still blackmailing. The only thing I find interesting about that scene, or well done from that scene, is the fact that Ignis picks up on the reality of it pretty quickly. Okay, that's not what I was trying to do.
Huh.
This button. There we go. Yeah, sorry, left mouse click is sprint, because that makes all of the sense. Now, the interesting thing is, if we were to presume a good author factor, which I'll talk about in a second, because I know I haven't defined that often, this would be a good time to mention that, assuming we had a good author factor, this would be a good way to emphasize the idea of just how little political power we have as part of the Kingdom of Lucis.
Time. Gladio, come on.
Gotcha.
Zug zug.
What kitten? What are you talking about? There's no kitten. There is no kitten. Whoop. My one weakness. It's FF8 all over again. What? Yep, hang on. We're okay. Now we can... Anyway, so as I was saying...
Feels so sluggish.
Yeah.
I have no idea, Raven King. No, I'm serious. Like, you're talking about internecine issues, right? Like, obviously the reason that Niflheim? I forget how they pronounce it. The reason the Empire has no problems externally is because they're simply stronger than everyone else. Like, imagine for a moment if you... Oh, that doesn't help me. It doesn't help me, Rex. No! Is because of the fact that they are simply so much stronger militarily and arguably economically than everyone else. It's Rome versus a bunch of city-states, back when Rome was sweeping across the peninsula, the boot. Now, internecine issues, why they never had any internal problems, that's a very good question.
Let's scope it out.
Because you'd think they'd have at least some problems with some of their own people not agreeing with it. I mean, yeah, later they start turning all their own soldiers into mindless doll things and, you know, Niflheim, thank you, into you know, the Magitech soldiers, which are basically golems for all intents and purposes, but there's no real lore or development of why. This is the setting building problem I mentioned earlier. There's a lot of, like, picture a painting, okay? Now picture that there's huge chunks of it, and I mean huge chunks of it, that just aren't there at all. That's the world of Final Fantasy 15, and that's one of the reasons why doing a lore run of this game is going to involve a whole lot of, like, it's not like Elder Scrolls where it's debatable. It's just, Even the Ultimania doesn't actually fulfill a lot of those holes. Like, we know a little bit more about the backstory and the build-up and the empires, but yeah, there's nothing there. There's literally nothing there. It's just gaps. And that's one of the biggest things that hurts this game, in my opinion. I mean, everything else I can kind of bypass, but you can tell this was a story that was just, Anyways, thank you, Alex. Fine! I'll go do that quest in a minute. But I am going to need to know what you want to put that $5 towards. And thank you, Alex. And don't say you put it towards the cat. Wrong button.
Eyes forward. Didn't mean to do that.
You're going to hear that a lot, by the way. If I was to compare it to another game, it reminds me of FF9 before the Ultimania came out.
OMG. We're supposed to get near that thing?
Pipe down before you wake it up.
Oh my god, give me my camera back. There we go. It's okay, I got this. Yeah, prop quiz. Without looking it up, tell me the name of the Emperor of the Niflheim Empire. And Rax just completely ruined my point for me.
We made it out alive. Barely! I seriously thought we were at Journey's End.
But that feat was fit for a king.
Indeed.
Yeah, I've already forgotten his name. Bob. We're gonna call him Bob from now on. I mean, it's probably sad that Lunafreya's brother gets more characterization than Bob. Emperor Bob, obviously. Really? You're not gonna let me go over the edge? Really, game? What if I glitch you out so you let me? It's not letting me. Damn it! Oh, hang on, Alex. Hang on. Must go fast. There we go. Now we're ready to go even faster. Oh, dip. Almost there. Almost there. Almost there. Okay, we're here. Hang on, Alex. Miki. FF9. Oh, yeah. Speaking of FF9, we need to talk about something. When it comes to ratings specifically, as in the ratings, the pluses and the minuses, we need to decide how we're going to approach stuff that's not in the game. And you can see why I relate this to FF9. Because I know what's going on in FF9 because I read the frickin' book. You know, I read the Ultimania stuff. But that stuff is not in the game. So... Now in FF15... Yeah, I know your opinion, Dakota, and I kind of agree with you, honestly, but... Like, okay, let me use a non-game example. How many of you have ever seen Star Trek Generations? This is one of my favorite examples of this problem. Star Trek 7, for those of you not aware. Damn it, Alex. In Star Trek 7, in Star Trek Generations, there are several substantial plot points which are glossed over or referenced, but never actually explained. Like, there's actually this bit, for example, when Sauron decides to torture Geordi. Right? No, there isn't, because that scene wasn't in the movie. Instead, there's a scene where he says, I want you to tell me everything you know about such and such. And then the scene cuts to later, and then we have, all of a sudden, there's this tidbit about his heart not being in it, and there's a reference to it with Sauron actually caring, and then there's a reference with Crusher even mentioning the heart probe, but the actual scene is absent entirely. So it's just kind of a weird inference, because they basically just chopped the scene out completely. They also completely chop out most of Sauron's characterization when it comes to Star Trek Generations. He did actually have characterization in the original script, as well as in the novelization of Star Trek Generations. In the movie, he's a bad guy. So you can see why that would be an issue, because I've had several people in the past defend Star Trek Generations, Star Trek 7, because, well, all that stuff's explained in the book. Or, that was just in the original script. You know.
Man, it's hot.
Then lose the jacket.
Oh, Jesus. Well, don't mistake me, like, some of that stuff, that's kind of my job, right? Is to read the Ultimanias and read the books and tell you all the stuff that's not in the game. I mean, I did that for the FF Lorerun, for example. And we discussed a lot of stuff that's not in the games of the FF Loreruns. But when it comes to review standards, I think I agree with all of you guys. Because, I mean, the fact that you have to watch an anime, watch a movie, and read a book, which isn't out yet, I guess, in order to get and then read a second book, in order to get all of the backstory that isn't in the game. So, yeah, like I said, I think, for example, I would give this same negative to FF9. As much as I love FF9, I do feel that is a major weakness for its story. So, and yeah, that's the other thing. Like, if it's... I've actually talked about this before. If it's flavor lore, or background lore, or just fleshing out side characters more, okay. Like, let me use a parallel. This is made up, obviously, but imagine if there was a book that came out about FF6, which was basically Cid's origin story. It was from Cid's perspective during the rise of the Empire and leading up to the beginning of the events of the game. Like, I'd be okay with that, personally, because it's not massively critical information for the game. It's just adding a little bit on the side. It's like having a little complementary work, right? Now imagine for a moment if, for example, all of the backstory about Terra's real nature and her parentage, all of that was absent from FF6, but was present over here in the story that I just mentioned. That would bug the crap out of me. Because that's a very significant, relevant, plot-critical and character-critical thing that actually comes up as a major theme multiple times throughout the course of FF6. Right? So, I do feel there's a bit of a gradient there, but Anyway, so yeah, story negative, sorry. Or story positive, sorry. I put that in story positive. Story positive! Everything I've just been talking about. Wake up, Lore. Actually, yeah, full beard, to be blunt. We'll have to decide what we think about the DLCs and how to rate those later. I'm just making sure we're up to date on all our positives and negatives. Looks like we are. Yeah, okay. Let's feed the cat. Whoa, too fast. Okay, we're good. Hello? I was gonna feed the cat. There we go.
Hey, buddy. What's up? Taking a little stroll? How come you're all alone? You must be hungry. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hold on a sec. I'll find you something. Gotta come up with some cat food.
Could always buy some.
Or we could fish for some.
Excellent idea. Let's go.
Yes, I do, G-Soldier. Oh my gosh, that was awful. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. To the cave. To the cave. Sorry. There are a lot of minigames in this game. If we ever review other games of this like, that's going to be something to consider. Like, if we ever review Grand Theft Auto 5, for example, how the hell are we going to rate that? Whoops, I wasn't paying attention. My fault. Like, there is an inordinate quantity of minigames.
Have a look at this, Noct.
In GTA 5. Of course I can just summon a fishing rod, can't you? Let's go out. There. As I say, the meteor definitely has some relevance, but yeah, I think most of the other stuff is just there for flavor. Uh-oh. A fish is eyeing your lure. I'm not sure, Darth Tyrant. I'd have to think about this.
Focus!
There we go.
Oh, man! We almost had it.
Damn it. We'll use the bomb. And the dragon drain. And the ultra death.
All right, this one's perfect.
Huh. Great job, Noct.
Now let's feed it live to the cat. I agree, by the way.
And I haven't even fished.
Yeah.
But seriously, I agree with mundane utility in Magic. It doesn't come up nearly as often as it should, and it's always been an idea that fascinates me. P&P stands for pen and paper, Raven King. Of course, Alex. Yeah, all the food is super detailed. It's the weirdest thing. So can I go ahead and admit something that I thought last time, but I think more now? And I'm probably going to get some flack for this opinion. I suppose I should just admit it without asking for your permission. Well, okay, Frank Chiappa really doesn't want me to admit it. Thank you very much, Frank Chiappa. Much obliged as always. Thank you. Do you happen to know what you'd like to put that towards for showing interest in a future stream? I think the main plot is one of the weaker elements of the story of this game. The character stuff, obviously the best, especially with the big four. Some of the personal moments, some of the ground level moments, excellent. The setting obviously has problems, as we discussed earlier, but I really feel like the plot just fumbles basically throughout the whole thing. Yeah, it's very bare bones, it's very cliche, and it's not even fully explained. Yeah, and I also agree, the main plot lacks proper structure. Now, I've already kind of explained one of the reasons why I feel that way. It's because of, the issues that this game had in its production cycle, but it still sits there as a And you are correct, Frank Chiappa. So I'll add that to Shadowbringers. Skyrim. Yeah. In fact, if I'm being honest, I should probably pencil in a story negative for the main plot. In fact, I should pencil in 2 story negatives, so... There. So 2 penciled in story negatives.
Here you go. Caught fresh. What? You don't like fish? Oh, you only like cooked fish. All right.
All right, well, let's go get some cooked fish then, apparently. Thank you very much, Funnel Harmony. Much obliged. And much appreciated. Thank you for the sub. Do you happen to know where you'd like to put that?
Fresh from the ocean. Absolutely breathtaking.
Yes, I was about to say the same.
Hey, do you serve anything a cat might like?
That the best pickup line you've got?
What? No, there's this cat over there.
I'm only teasing. I have a feeling I know the feline you've got in mind. Let me whip something up. Paying customers come first, though, and someone just ordered the last fish on hand. Would you mind catching another one of these while I make their meal?
Which version, Final Harmony?
Smells good.
That's true, Raven King. I mean, not to spoil too much, but I feel you got it, Funnel Harmony. I actually do own that version of the game, funnily enough. As much as I am hesitant to add even more things to an already gargantuan list of future streams. I mean, a Star Ocean, come on. I'll make a note about the PSP version specifically. And thank you again, Final Harmony. Final Harmony 4, excuse me. I feel like one of the, towards the middle to latter end of the story, it's basically, we need to kill Arden. And while there are reasons for that, and then there's underlying concepts behind that, they never really properly explain why Arden is so necessary to be defeated to win. In fact, if I could be blunt, I don't think they ever properly connected the removal... Is it on the website? I'll take your word for it, because, I don't understand why... Yeah, exactly, Dakota. Why does removing Arden from the playing field fix the Star Scourge problem? I mean, I know a Final Fantasy game has to have a last boss. Excuse me. But there's a massive disconnect there between defeating Arden and... Excuse me, cessating Arden, let's be clear about it, and the Star Scourge going away. Because it does. The Star Scourge gets completely wiped out, even though...
Fish is my new favorite! So we can take steak off the table from now on. Whoa! Let's not do anything hasty.
Great! I'll start on it right away. You know, this is really thoughtful of you, but be warned. Cats are clingy, and they're notoriously picky eaters, too.
Picky eaters? You don't say.
When it comes to food, felines are quite finicky. So you are wise to entrust the cooking to me. Here.
I mean, it's an FF13 game, Frank Chiappa. So yeah, it makes sense that the gods are the real bad guys of the game. Just like in 13, and 13.2, and 13.3, and Type 0. I mean, honestly.
All right, here you go. You're one spoiled cat.
Aww, I think he likes you.
I guess.
Clawed his way into your heart.
Might keep on clinging. Forever.
Oh, that hurt.
Welcome to Golden Key.
Smells good.
The reason I directly relate it to FF13, though, is because that really is a major theme of the 13 games. Like a deliberate theme of the 13 games. You know, we could joke about it being a JRPG thing or an FF thing, but it was a deliberate thematic choice behind the 13s. For better or for ill.
First day off in a good while.
I would never cheat in a Lorerun. Hey, look! There's the... Speaking of the gods, so we got Titan, the Archaean? Steadfast as stone. Ramu, the Fulgurian, sharp as lightning. Shiva, the Glacian, gentle as snow. Leviathan, the Hydrian, relentless as tides. Bahamut, the Draconian, evil as iron. I mean, unbending as iron. And Ifrit, the Infernian, fickle as fire. Since time immemorial, they have watched over Eos, and they're actually really, really evil. Except for Shiva, she's cool. And Ramu's pretty cool, too. Titan strikes me more as an environmental kind of a god. I've used this parallel many times before, but I mean, Titan's like a volcano. It's hard to call a volcano evil, right? But Leviathan, Bahamut, Ifrit, yeah, they're all horrible. Ifrit's bipolar as hell. We'll talk about that later.
This bites. How am I supposed to make my deliveries?
Let's see if we can not be in the water this time.
Nice work, kid. Sorry for giving you such a hard time. I just had to get my hands on this, even if it meant blackmail. You understand, don't you? You see, I'm a reporter by day and an amateur jeweler by night. This elusive little beauty's gonna become a masterpiece. To make it up to you, I'll share a little scoop. That special coin you got? It commemorates the Oracle's ascension. That guy was tossing them out to everyone. Must have picked them up back in Niflheim. And speaking of freebies, here's one from me. Come back if you want to buy more.
I doubt a souvenir like that could make its way into the hands of an ordinary citizen.
Oh well, it's our pocket change now.
Let's learn from history and book a place this time.
Appreciated.
As promised, I'm in the process of securing your ferry tickets right now. Told you, I'm a man of integrity. Should be smooth sailing from here. So let me know when you're ready to ship out.
I admit I didn't expect Dino to secure us a ship.
Well, must be pretty connected if he can pull some strings around an Imperial embargo.
Yeah, that guy's one artful artisan.
I haven't saved in a while, and I don't want to rely on autosaves too much, so we're going to do that. Actually, I have Frank Chiappa. It's a hypothetical negative right now.
You guys ready to set sail?
You'll be unable to return for some time.
Already? The ship won't arrive till tomorrow. How about you find a place to spend the night?
It's bedtime.
Yeah.
Is it? Ooh. Levels I don't need. Yeah, my neck's been giving me issues.
Damn, this is a really good shot.
I made sure I got the regalia's good side.
Well taken.
Plot? What the hell's plot? Really, Prompto? Really? One of the things I find amusing is the, like, some of the, this is obviously amusing, and I already kind of commented on this, but some of these are just, oh no, that isn't because of cheats at all, Nargafell. I have done nothing to cheat my experience. If I wanted to cheat my experience, I'd already be level 120 right now. I could do that. It'd be very easy. But I want you to imagine that we're slowly sneaking up on this giant, terrifying bird that Prompto is super terrified of, and he's just got to take a picture of it. Click. There we go. No wonder the damn thing woke up. I think I'm one of the only people who's never been bothered by their appearance. So I actually already talked about this, but this is when they are betrayed by Niflheim. And there was a traitor subplot, which I don't know why that was in the thing. That guy's pretty cool, right? Right? Hey, they've even brought Diamond Weapon for some reason. No. Regis, no. Spoilers, he's super dead. He totally knew this was happening. Meanwhile, in the game you're actually playing...
Hey, morning.
I was gonna say, I was just about to mention that we never follow through on Night Guy. Like, ever. There's a lot of never follow through ons in this game, by the way.
Where's Specs?
Should be back any minute now.
So Ignis is gonna bring the news. And, hang on. I don't think this deserves an additional negative. No, Raven King, he's totally got tons of motivation. So, okay, I'm just going to go and give my opinion. That cutscene shouldn't have been in the game. If you ejected it entirely, and it just went from, we should lay down, to us getting up and then Ignis giving us the news, it would have flowed quite smoothly. Instead, it's just, hey, here's literally some shots from the movie, edited together with just no proper context or flow to the editing. And then shkrunk. Right? And yeah, if you didn't see the movie, it makes even less sense. This goes back to our earlier problem of plot critical elements being like shkrunk. But yeah, that's exactly my point. I agree with Kay. It's not a cutscene, it's a promo. It's go watch the movie. I can think of another game that actually made that mistake. It was Ratchet and Clank on the PS4. Which is funny, because I actually enjoy Ratchet and Clank on the PS4. And I even enjoyed the Ratchet and Clank movie, but that still doesn't excuse the fact that there are several cutscenes in the Ratchet and Clank game, which are basically, go watch the movie. And the editing is just... the editing didn't work at all. Speaking as someone who... Like, I'm probably a better editor than I am anything else video-wise, and I just looked at that like, really? Anyways, moving on. Actually, hang on. Let's go ahead and... Let's add something. God, we're spending more time reviewing this than lore running this. I swear we'll talk about lore sometime during this run. Where is it? There it is. So... Opinion. I want your guys' opinion. We already gave a negative for the Ifrit scene, because, and as I explained, every time I see it, it just bothers me. For the unnecessary flash forward. Do you think that the unnecessary cutscene we just saw is a separate negative, or deserves to be part of the same negative? Because both have similar problems, but in a different direction. What do you guys think? See, now, I'll go ahead and give my opinion now that you guys have had a chance to start typing your answers, because I don't want to influence your opinion. To me, this deserves a separate negative. First of all, it's almost pointless filler, especially if you haven't seen the film. Second, it's very awkwardly shoved in. Third, and I already mentioned this, the editing is awful. Like, actually bad in its presentation. Fourth, in my opinion, this scene and the next several additional scenes are actually made worse by the inclusion of that little promo bit. My opinion. That's true, Takota. It also makes what we're about to see redundant, because it's just repeating itself at that point. No, Pave Maniac. I'm pretty sure we've had the only flash forward we're going to have. We could have flash backwards, which is just such a weird, awkward thing, but we'll get there when we get there. I think I agree. It deserves a separate negative. So the inclusion, the movies, cutscene, as a... Movies, the inclusion of the movie cutscene, let's put that in quotes there, feels awkwardly placed, redundant, detracts from the impact, has no context unless you've seen the movie, and finally, and most importantly of all, it was just terribly edited. Terribly edited.
What's that look for?
I know you've seen the cutscene, Noctis.
In all the papers.
What is?
Insomnia Falls.
Like, think about that for a second. Allow me to continue to emphasize my point. Please forgive me. Up until now, it's been completely casual, right? You know, the game started with us pushing the damn car, and it's like, oh man. And then we get to the town, and we have to do a little side quest, and we hunt some enemies, and we find a dude, and we get some necklace pieces. And that's also, I didn't do this, but that's also when the game really tends to open up side quest-wise. I did this last time. Before this scene we just saw, I ran around and did a bunch of side stuff. Because you can do a bunch of side stuff at this point in time. Yeah, just adventuring. It's just, yeah, do. And then all of a sudden, Ignis walks in. All he says is, it's in all the papers. And it is Prompta who has to be the one who reads the headline out loud. Insomnia Falls. It's the plot has started moment, basically. It's shifting the gear of the tone of the story. And this scene actually has legitimate impact and power to it. And yeah, the atmosphere changes, and the context changes, and this is a great scene if that frickin' cutscene had been in it.
This your idea of a joke?
I need you to calm down so I can explain.
I'm as calm as I'm gonna get.
There was an attack. The Imperial Army has taken the Crown City.
As treaty room tempers flared, blast lit the night sky. When the smoke about the Citadel had cleared, the king was found dead.
No, wait. Hold on.
We had no way of knowing.
What? Knowing what?
That the signing was last night. That insomnia.
But the wedding! Altisha!
I know. That was the plan. Yet the reports of the invasion are all the same. How could every headline in the kingdom be wrong?
Lies.
If only.
What else do we know? Well, then we can't be sure until we see it with our own eyes.
And that means we go back to Insomnia.
Might not be safe for us there.
Might not be safe for us here.
Turn back.
Yeah.
As a nice touch, you'll notice they all defer to Noctis's decision there. They all debate it amongst themselves and discuss it, not only as friends but as comrades. But in the end, it's Gladiolus who just turns and just says, "Turn back." I think I'm going to probably give at least 2 positives to this game's dialogue, because the dialogue between the quartet is extremely natural. Very human, and it flows wonderfully well. It's actually kind of unusual, to be blunt, for a Final Fantasy game to have this natural of dialogue, this human of dialogue.
A lot of good hoping's gonna do.
You mustn't lose faith.
Really? Can faith stop a fleet of Imperial dreadnoughts?
Just give it a rest.
My old man had plenty of faith.
Enough.
The Empire lied. They betrayed us.
Conjecture gets us nowhere. We're searching for truth.
All you'll find are lies. Like that ceasefire.
Look at the size of those things.
Imperial dreadnoughts. They transport soldiers, namely the Magitech infantry.
The robots?
Mass-produced humanoid weapons of warfare, to be more precise.
Doesn't look like they'll be signing that peace treaty.
We're Pulse Lassie. Enemy's a cocoon. Sorry.
Up ahead.
They've set up an inspection point.
If the road ahead's blocked, then we find a way around.
I know, right, Raven King? To my knowledge, okay, let's explain something briefly. Sorry. And in answer to your question, Arcus, I liked it well enough. Like, there were good parts about it. Actually, there are not, JP. Although I don't want to mess with car velocity, because that's going to mess with the timing on cutscenes. This is all basically scripted. You'll notice I was hands-off that entire section. So, I mentioned earlier how the city-state, let's call it what it is, of Lucis is up against a wall, along with several, actually, of the city-states in the area. And the Niflheimians, the Imperials, are substantially militarily dominant right now. They have basically an overwhelming advantage. You might as well just call them the Kingdom of Baron from FF4. And I don't mean that as a derogatory statement. It's a direct parallel. They are substantially stronger militarily than everyone else. And Valvedrix just mentioned the main reason why. Because most of their military is effectively golems, or robots, or whatever you want to call it. Actually, both, I suppose. Since they have the big armors, and then they have the Magitech soldiers, and the demon soldiers, and all that fun stuff. Now, this is relevant, because this helps to explain one of the biggest reasons why Lucis agreed to the peace treaty. You could say, well, that's really stupid. Why would they ever try to agree to a peace treaty when the enemy is so obviously evil? Well, if you're paying attention, the whole point was that it was their plan in addition to the Empire's plan. The Empire obviously had, there was the whole traitor thing, and the Empire was trying to kill them at the peace signing, basically to get past the shield, to save them the time and effort of the assault. But the Lucians were also having the same general plot. They were trying to lure the leadership of Niflheim into an area where they could strike at them, and then kill them during the peace talks, or try to do whatever they could to them. In short, the reason that Lucis agreed to the thing to begin with was because they were trying to get the upper hand, just like the Empire was trying to do. Which actually makes perfect sense, really, if you think about it. Now, that being stated, Tecoida brings up the obvious thing. If it wasn't for the shield being blown up, then that would have been the end of it. That shield really was the linchpin of Lucius's plan. As soon as that shield went down, that was it. Lucius fell. I say Lucius. It was... Insomnia fell. Now, another thing I want to discuss really briefly here is the nature of the Imperial's military power, because what they have is a substantial amount of power projection, which is just like a military concept I've talked about many times. Basically, power projection from a military perspective is about how far you can deploy and utilize your military assets from like a central point. A airbase has, for like a squadron of fighters or bombers, has a decent amount of power projection because of the range which those fighters can hit. Make sense? This is actually one of the reasons why a carrier is such a dominant thing when it comes to military tactics and strategy, is because a carrier is a mobile airbase and thus is a huge amount of power projection that can move. This leads naturally into Niflheim's big advantage. They have those airships, those dreadnoughts, which are basically troop transports, but they're mobile, airbound troop transports. They're not limited by terrain, and they have tremendous range and speed. So this is the greatest advantage, really, that Niflheim has, and it's actually showcased here, and we'll see the other example of this later. That we're nowhere near the city gates, and already they have boots on the ground here, specifically because they can deploy their troops so far, so quickly. Make sense? So, moving on. Why is our car purple? Why is it white and purple? What in the... Is that a bug?
Let's make a detour. There ought to be a decent vantage point.
Oh, that's clearly white. Whatever. We joined the Saints off camera. Actually, I hate to do this, but we're gonna kind of pause here. I haven't done any paint jobs, that's the problem. We're gonna go ahead and pause here, mostly because it's my lunchtime anyways, and I was supposed to pause about 20 minutes ago and go and make lunch. So now I'm gonna have to go make lunch and not actually get a nap in order to try and actually eat today. So, for those of you on the YouTube,